I'm scarred for life, but I'm set for life, and I'm set for life, but I'm scarred for life, and I'm coming at you. I'm fucking crazy. I'm fucking psycho, fucking insane. That's the fucking chorus right there.
You nailed
That
it,
is
dude. You
good.
nailed it.
Yeah.
You nailed it. And you visually transformed into fucking Joe
Yeah,
Rogan there,
you
dude.
did.
You
Oh,
fucking
Joe Rogan. Yeah, okay.
yeah, you did. You visually transformed
That's
yourself
good.
into Joe Rogan. It was amazing.
You're watching the BigRoom live on Twitch. You're the BigRoom. You're watching the BigRoom live on Twitch. Yeah.
Hey,
What's up, BB?
what is
God,
up?
I love that intro so much. So good. It's
Yeah, that's pretty
hilarious.
great. That's a great intro, man. That's a great intro.
Really. We did good. Well, you guys did good. I didn't have too much to do with that one. But,
Oh, you're the star of the opening clip, man.
that's true. Hey, you're right. I am in there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
drunk what? Yes.
What
My
else? What was that? What was
drunken
that
best.
doing? Right.
Yeah, I was in a mood that night.
That was a good movie. That was a good night.
Oh man, how's it been?
Been good, dude. Been good. You know, been pretty busy, but stay on top of it. Got my bonus check this past week, so that was
Oh, everyone out
nice.
celebrated a little bit with it.
I went out for dinner tonight, but that was just
Yeah.
because I went to go pick up my new glasses. You know, fancy.
Ah, yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm, mm.
They're small though. Why didn't you get bigger ones? Like my
I
size.
no, I don't want those, dude.
You don't want big ones
No, I
because they
really
just
like to
slide down your face.
slide down my face. This dude, I look ahead, man. I,
Yeah.
I, I ain't
You
nervous.
don't,
I ain't
you don't
looking
need
off
to
the
see.
sides.
You don't need to see down below. You're on the sides. You don't need the peripheral
Yeah,
width.
I need to see this right here. I have to be comfortable.
You're laser focused.
Be
Straight ahead.
comfortable, and
Well,
yeah, and light changing. Yeah, change the lights.
you look studious. You like them? They're good.
I do. I like them. I like them. Yeah, I just got them today.
Congratulations.
Yeah. The
That's
first
awesome.
hour or two, so I hadn't been wearing my glasses at all for like 2 weeks or so.
Right?
Yeah. So when I put them back on, yeah, you get that kind of like,
Oh yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
but they're already everything's kind of focusing in appropriately now. So
That's good, man.
that's good. But yeah, no, I just did that, and then otherwise just been here.
Where was dinner?
We went to Purgatory.
Oh yeah, I love Purgatory.
Yeah.
Was it satisfying?
Yeah, you know what? Oddly enough, Karen got a burger and a milkshake.
Yeah.
And I've never tried any of the other stuff on their menu. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get something other than a burger today.
Uh-huh.
So I got their chili bowl.
Chili roll. Okay, never heard of
Chili
that.
bowl, no bowl, chili bowl.
Oh, a bowl of chili. Okay.
Yeah, bowl of chili that comes with their jalapeno cornbread.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's a little wedge of cornbread with
Yeah.
jalapenos baked into it.
Yeah.
And
That sounds good.
yeah, and it was good. It was very good, very tasty, very. And I got some beer. You know, I tried some of their
Yeah.
beer they had on tap.
Yeah, they have good beers there, right?
Yeah, they cycle the one down at the waterfront where we were. They will cycle through. They always have 12 different beers on tap, and
Mhm.
they'll cycle them pretty much every month. Yeah.
That's cool. And some local breweries as well represented.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what was all there now. I mean, they had like two state, like they had like a Yingling, of course. Yeah, and a Miller Lite, which was okay. But then I think they had one from Long Longshores or something like that called Prognostication Lager. And that was a very refreshing lager. It's definitely what I was looking for. Like I wasn't looking for anything too heavy or dark or
Right, because you want it to pair with your food, have a clean
Yeah.
finish. You don't really want it to like be changing the flavor of your food too much.
Abba jabba abracadabra. Take a monk.
Ooh-boo kadoo-boo. It's
Ooba
the monk
gadooba
all up
gooba
on
monk.
you, boo.
Well, yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, you know. Oh, and and wait, oh, what
Whoa!
is it? Cremini. What? Wait, what is it? Cremini. Summoning the trooping the
It's
crap.
skibbity baba.
Bebubba Krampus. And Krampus
Ha!
summoning.
Nice.
Skibbity
Awesome. What's
Worst
up,
introduction ever.
Krampus?
Eba the boo boo.
Yeah, the worst introduction ever, bro.
Right? They called that an invocation.
Oh yeah, he's speaking in tongues.
Yeah, they call
He's
that
getting tongued. They call that getting tongued by the Lord.
right. It's
A wizard.
I just watched a documentary called "Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey." It's called "Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey." It was a four-part documentary about fundamentalist Mormons
Oh my.
wow.
in Utah and northern Arizona.
Mm.
And
Pretty
there's a
good
lot of
religion, isn't it?
there's a lot of tonguing of the Lord going on down in that religion. Let me tell you something.
Beegada-bee-baboo.
A lot of sex.
There's a lot of sex and a lot of sex with 12-year-olds.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah. The leader, the current leader,
Foreign
of the,
Mormons.
the current leader of the religion, who's in prison
Oh
now.
Jesus. Yeah.
At the time of his arrest, they found documents that he had 87 wives. 26 of them were under the age of 14.
Jesus.
Wow.
Under the age of 14.
How many? Under 14?
26 of them were under the age of 14.
Yeah. See,
not
that's
touching that one.
that's issues. That's
And
issues. I
then-
don't want to
That
get
is
into that.
fucking- yeah,
and
that's
then
fucking-
there's the audio recordings
Oh no.
that he made of him talking to the new batches of wives that he would bring in, speaking directly to a 12-year-old, explaining to her how her and her sister wives had to learn the heightened ecstasies of sexual pleasure that God offers them. So no one just stands around here. You all have to learn how to arouse each other to be ready for the ecstasies of God. And then instructing the 12-year-old, okay, now, no video, just audio. Okay, now. And he's got
Because they're
this-
Mormon.
because they're Mormon, right? And he's just like, okay, now, get on your knees as if you were praying in front of me. I will reach out and guide your head. Open your mouth.
Jesus.
All right,
ready?
Biggie.
Ready to accept the Lord. Be ready to
Oh
accept
boy.
the Lord.
This is a graphic episode of
Oh, it was horrible, dude. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. Just
and all of it in the name of the Lord.
Lord.
What when this guy, huh?
BB, was it the worst 4.5 hours of your life?
it was
It
about.
was so horrible. I couldn't stop for 4.5
I
hours.
couldn't stop watching it for 4. I think it was a total of. It was like 4 45-minute episodes.
Jesus.
I watched 2 the one
This is
night.
the one dude I hope gets raped in prison.
Yeah,
He
he's
was really deserving of that.
I think he
Yeah,
got
man,
sentenced
that's
to
fucked up.
it was a hilarious sentencing. He got sentenced to 187 years plus 20 years post-mortem.
What?
Yes.
Well,
The only thing I could
keep his body there or what?
yeah, the only thing I could figure is that it's got to be some kind of like one of those weird law things where, like, well, he sentenced to 187 years, but he might, if good behavior, get that down to like 40, and then get out when he's 70. But if you put the plus 20 years post mortem, that means he's still got 20 years to serve until he dies. Then obviously, once he dies, you can let him go. It's got to be something weird like that.
Yeah, it's definitely
Wow.
like just to make sure there's no poop
Yeah.
holes.
Yeah,
How do these people? So you're essentially a priest, but How do they talk the girls into doing it? And why are their parents like? Where are the parents on this?
The parents are all thrilled
The
about
parents
it.
are thrilled about it because they're all 19.
The law in that particular is
I guess it'd be 28.
called FLDS is what they're called, Fundamentalist Latter-day Saints. And the law, according to their Bible, was that a man, no matter what good deeds he had performed over the course of his life, no matter how many miracles he may have performed, cannot get into the celestial afterlife unless he has at least 3 wives. He must have at least 3 wives.
Oh my god! People
And
people
then,
love this
if he
religion. They
does
just
get into
sign
the
up
celestial
for it.
afterlife,
Yeah, this is an example of
Yeah.
how you can manipulate people.
yeah,
Yeah.
each of those,
Easily.
each of their wives then get to go with them
Wow.
into the celestial afterlife.
Well, my question is this one of those reverse religions where if they have a boy, they have to kill it off because they need more women than men?
They don't kill it off, but what they do? What's this?
That's a big
Doers
doers
white
coming into you right here.
label.
That is temptation, my brother.
That's a temptation on your right hand shoulder.
What are we drinking? Are we drinking something?
Stewards.
Oh, just doers. I don't want that. I want the
You're
10
doers it. I'm doers it. We're all doers it.
I got something special tonight. For
Oh
me.
yeah.
Hi.
Oh, he just damn Ron just stopping in to say hi
That's it.
Hi, damn Ron.
and happy birthday to
Hi.
Adhoff.
Happy birthday to Adam.
Hey, thank you.
Yes, indeed.
They don't
Mom.
kill the sons, but what actually wound up getting the head guy into trouble was that they grew to like fucking 8,000 people in this religion.
Jeez.
They like took over a whole town called Short Creek, Arizona, or something like that, like on the border. But what wound up busting him, what wound up getting the authorities involved in-
Pedophilia. Pedophilia.
Welcome to Pedophilia, and was they had fucking like Monk mentioned, there was too many boys because 50-50, you average out, you're gonna get 50% men, 50% women. So there were huge fucking gangs of homeless 13-year-old boys showing up in Arizona. And people were like, where the fuck are all these? Why do we have hundreds of young boys at 13, 14 years old homeless?
Wow.
And that's what started, people were like, where are they coming from? And the parents are just like, yeah, just pour like a, like about that much right there, yeah. But there you go. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, dude, like that's what and the parents would just,
Strong.
the parents would just be like, oh, that's what the church said. We gotta let them go. They would take wives from husbands and assign them to other husbands, and the wives would be like, I don't want to go, mommy. We love daddy. Hey, we have a new daddy now. It was wild. It was just wild.
Maybe
It was
whatever happened to you mentioned
My Transylvania twist.
yeah, a month and a half ago. It's off topic, so I'm sorry, but I just remembered you mentioned the homicide of 6 or 7 students, I think, in a
yeah.
Great episode.
in a small
Monk's loving this one.
Did they ever catch who did it, or it's an ongoing investigation?
They got a guy. They caught some guy that was I don't remember his age now, but they caught him in Philadelphia. Actually, they caught him in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. A whole way across the country because it happened in Idaho or Idaho, and
I don't know.
Idaho. But they caught a guy in Philadelphia who was a PhD student. He was like a master's. He was like a master's student in criminology. He was studying to be a criminologist. and they arrested this
Wanted to
dude.
practice.
Yeah, and they said
Yes.
the first time they confronted him, he had driven across country with his dad, coming back home from Idaho. Dad claims to have no knowledge whatsoever that anything was going on. And the first time the cops approached the guy, the first thing he said to him was,
I didn't kill nobody.
"No." The first thing he said was, "Did you all arrest anybody else in connection to this?" And they were like, "What?" And he's like, "Am I the first arrest, or did you arrest somebody else?" And they were like, "No, you're the only arrest we have."
There is
And he was
more
like,
plot twist.
yeah, and then after that, he was like, "I'll be exonerated of this." Like he's
I can just
100%.
see, bro. I can just see a movie about this. This is
Oh, there's definitely gonna be a movie about it. It's
Yeah,
so weird.
it's crazy.
That's a very Kevin Spacey response.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So like he hasn't stressed out at all apparently, and is just convinced. Oh no, I'm going to be found innocent of this.
I've studied how to. I studied criminology.
Yeah,
He's like a Dexter.
Yeah, he's like a Texan of some sort. They don't have the weapon. They've never found the weapon, and they have no motive yet. They don't have any connection between him and.
Then why did they select this character?
Because they found.
Because he's creepy as fuck.
He's creepy as fuck. He is creepy too. He's a creepy motherfucker. They found evidence in the house. They found like hair evidence or some
DNA.
Yeah, some skin evidence and whatnot. But he's saying, I don't deny I've been in the house. That was a party house. It was a college party house. I've been there for parties. You know,
right.
And then there was that, and there was.
I'm with him.
And there was some kind of security camera footage from a neighbor or something that caught the same model and make of car that he has there the night of the murder.
Okay.
But they didn't get license plates. They didn't get, so they don't know. Oh yeah, it was that car, but it was the same make and model that he had.
Well, he's right then. He is going to get off.
He's probably going to get off.
The most common car, like a white Toyota Corolla or something.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what the car was. But that's kind of gone. That's taking a backseat now after the Memphis cops beat that one guy to death.
Oh yeah.
A couple of weekends ago, and he was a FedEx employee, so we've been handling phone calls about that as part of my job, because he was a FedEx kid. And then they released the video this past Friday, which I don't know if anybody else saw it other than me.
Nope.
I
don't know.
You did that? No, you did not.
Yeah. Apparently, it was like 80. It was sad because.
Did you see it or no?
I did. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
He's like 80 feet. They said he was only like 80 feet or 80 yards.
Yeah, 80 yards. 80 yards
from his mother's house. So he was calling out for his mom for help while they kicked him to death.
And it was weird from the get go, man. Like the cops came up on him like super hard. Like I don't know, and there's apparently there's no evidence or any footage or anything of him having done anything. And they fucking rushed him in his car.
Like it was a hit.
Like crazy, man. Like fucking, yeah, get out of the car, motherfucker, get out of the car. Yelling, and they're unmarked cars, they're unmarked police cars, because they're part of the Scorpion unit. That was what that's what they were the members of, the Scorpion unit.
So this is just a random guy being killed by the police?
Yeah, it's just like it seems that way. But they came up on him, and he comes out of the car, and he's like,
another reason not to
ask him like, what did I do? What did I do?
And he's saying it like a not. He's just like, he's like, okay, sir, yeah, okay, officer, I'm out of the car. Yes, what did I do? I didn't do nothing. What did I do? Get on the fucking ground. Get on the okay, all right, I'm down on the ground. Get on your stomach. I'm on the ground, officer. I'm on the ground. What did I do? Shut the fuck up and listen to what I'm telling. I mean, it was like I was like, what the fuck do you want this kid to do right now? I don't even understand what's going on. And then he went, and then they pepper spray him, and he like starts fighting back because he's pepper sprayed, and then he goes running, and they lose him. And the one cop is like, "I don't know where he is, man. I don't know where he is. Hey, yeah, we last saw him headed northbound on da da da." And then he cuts off the video, and it's all on his body cam footage. He's like, "I hope they fucking stomp that guy. Hope they fucking stomp him." And they stomped him. They beat him. They physically. There's one scene where they're holding him down. And the dude fucking punts him in the head. Another cop just comes in, punt twice, right in the face. And then they pick him up, and his arms are behind his head. He's staggering around.
All right,
cop-
BB.
And the guy
I'm out.
wails on
See you
him.
guys. Thanks. This has been possibly the worst fucking big room since Trump. Thanks, guys. Yeah, it actually is my bedtime, so I'm gonna go have some peaceful dreams. Love you guys.
Have a good
Bye.
dream tonight.
No, you
Thanks for
can't
a great-
leave. You can't leave on that
No,
note.
I'm leaving on that. You guys suck. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Ad Hoc. Thanks for a great big room. Love
Don't
you guys.
leave yet. Come on.
you have me for 1 minute and 11 seconds to make this up to me, BB. Fucking spin this around quick.
I'll make it up to you with
Yeah,
one
make it up to
question.
him.
You got to ask me.
What are you thinking, motherfuckers? Evil pricks. What are you drinking, Ad Hoc?
Well, got myself something special. So last night I had a good dinner with the folks.
Right?
We went to God, what's it called? That
Crab Shack.
seafood, the Crab Shack.
Yeah.
Yeah, down at North Shore. Place is really nice, super nice. Actually, like it's completely decked out in beach garb, but it's very stylish. It's clean. It's spacious.
They got
I
crabs.
recommend it.
All the waiters and waitresses have crabs.
Now Todd's taking it. Whoever that is. All right, see what you did to him, BB. See what you did to the monk.
See what you did. he's going for crab jokes now. Anything.
Yeah, I got it. We got the bucket. You know, they have all kind of stuff on the menu, fried stuff, but we got the bucket, and it was like really good, nicely prepared.
Bucket of crabs, that is.
Seasonings on them. Yeah, I got, of course, one Old Bay. But yeah, it was a nice cluster of crab like this big with, you know, the claws like this. It was snow crab. And then like this really good, there's a sausage in there and there's some potatoes. And the sausage was like awesome. It was a really good, like it wasn't an andouille sausage like you get down in New Orleans, but
Yeah.
But it wasn't like an Italian hot sausage from Uncle
That
Charlie.
reminds me of something that happened in New Orleans.
Yes. Oh, you're waiting for another stomping tail?
Yeah.
I thought that guy got stomped. Well, anyway, so then afterwards, met up with my buddy. I can't remember what his name is on here, so we'll just call him Nizam. And
Yes. I haven't seen him in a while. That's great.
Yeah, him and his buddy, that another guy from Uzbekistan, just moved here a couple months ago. Cool guy. We went down to
Actually, I think wait, hold on. I think the last time I saw Nizam was at your birthday last year. Is the last time we were face to face, I think.
Really? Wow.
He might have come to a show, but I'm pretty certain that's the last time we hung out anyway.
Yeah, it might be. I don't remember another time, but anyway, so then we went down to Bern. What's it? Something Patel
Cigar bar, right?
Yeah, cigar bar. And I tried I tried something different. And I was looking at the Hennessy. And I don't really know if I ever had Hennessy, like honestly.
Except in a rap song.
But then they had the Hennessy VSOP. Because the Hennessy VS is like the regular standard Hennessy bottle. Then they got the VSOP. And that's like, it's like $22 a shot, you know, or a pour. I should say a pour, because they do give you a pour. Yeah, it's like an equivalent of like 2 shots. So I had that on the rocks, and wow, it was so delicious. Like so smooth
Describe it. I've never had it, obviously.
A
I don't
nice
think I have.
vanilla finish. And I was like, man, it's so then today I was like, I think I want to get one of them. So I went into the liquor store and looked around, and that one down in the Strip District has a lot of bottles of different cognacs and brandies and stuff. They had Cavassier VSOP because I got
That's the Kobasi. Hey,
Cavassier, yes, that is the drink.
Kilbasi.
Cavassier is a cool name. So I kept a couple bottles after I finished them, because like just in case like whatever happened to Sir Roberts Burnett, all of a sudden like they turn into plastic bottles, I could transfer them to the regular glass bottles.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Until I get a replacement, I figured I'll just hold on to the bottle. I got the shelf space. So I got the empty Cavassier, but it's just the VS. And this one is said to be known as the favorite of Napoleon. But the guy that was down there, he was really knowledgeable about cognacs. And he's like, the VSOP is like way better than the Cavassier. And he goes, Ansac's like pretty decent. I was like, yeah, had that before. And he goes, there was another one called Salignac. And I was like, yeah, it's French. It might be Salignac, but he said Salignac. So I knew what he's talking about. I was like, that was actually my favorite. So like the cheap cognacs. And I didn't keep that bottle, but they had a bunch of other ones. The Remy Martin, the VSOP, and then you go into like another tier of like,
oh yeah,
like the Hennessy regular VS is like $45 a bottle, but the VSOP was like $65, so it was like almost $20 more. And I was gonna get it, but I was talking about there was a couple other ones too that I was really curious to try. A couple in the 45s and a couple in the 60, but I've been hearing a lot about this one, so I went with this one. And I was like, that's my birthday. I'm King Ad Hoc.
Yeah,
this bottle,
that's my brand.
The bottle got me, leaning towards it. And then whenever I asked the guy, I was like, listen, I was like, you tried so many of these things. And, he spoke intelligently about the notes and like the finish and, like stuff like that. And I was like, well, what's your favorite for like the price point? There was one, this Remy Martin. It's called like, there's a date on it. It's like Remy Martin 1760 something or other. And he's like, that one is the best. Like it's amazing. But he's like, my favorite for the price point is this one. Douce.
Oh, drop a Douce up in your. Here it is. Oh, look at that. Oh, man,
nice.
It's really gorgeous.
Templar Knights.
Yep, nice. Yeah, Knights Templar. Drop the Knights Templar. Dropping a Douce on you.
Yeah. You could say with the homies.
You could totally build a religion around that.
And it reminds me of there's an emblem. There was an emblem that we had in our book.
Oh yeah. For the night, yeah.
For our nights, that was very similar to something BB drew. I think there was another third line across it, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. It was
It got the sword and then like other things crossing it.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's got to be this one. So what am I drinking? I'm gonna open it up right now. Have a sip.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's one of those unwrapping videos.
You've never tried this one before.
No. It's
awesome.
It's like $65 a bottle.
Do you have coffee beans in your apartment?
No. Why is that?
The best way to drink cognac is to pour it in a glass, then put on a paper towel or just a normal thin paper towel, and then put coffee beans on top of the paper towel, and then the coffee beans absorb some of the alcohol, and it gives a flavor to the cognac.
Wow.
That's a thing I learned from older guys.
P. Diddy.
Romania, the big drinkers of cognac, and I've seen them do it. So you just like grab like a normal paper towel, you put it on top of the glass, and then you put coffee beans on top of the towel, and you leave it like half an hour or an hour.
Magic happens.
Yeah. and it gives a great
Smooth.
taste.
It makes it more smooth. That's probably a good trick to do with the VSs rather than the VSOPs.
That seems intriguing.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you should
so-
definitely try it.
Sounds like chemistry.
Here's the cork.
Mm.
A little one. It's actually
Wow.
plastic though. This is glass, but this top is, I can tell it's a plastic.
Okay.
And but it seems like it's real cork. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's rubber, just made it look like cork. I don't know. We're gonna try.
All right.
All right.
You have some
Chug,
straight
chug,
first,
chug,
right? Yeah.
chug, chug, chug.
Okay, you're trying some over ice first. Okay.
You're gonna do a beer funnel of it.
All right. Bottoms up.
All right.
Yeah.
Why not? It's a birthday.
What's the flavor? The flavor, the lifesaver.
Yeah, describe the notes. The notes of the drink.
Well, first taste, I don't know.
Tastes like alcohol, doesn't it?
It's smooth. It's very smooth for sure. I'm looking for like the other notes that are in there. You know, they're like, you know, because they're supposed to, there is like a vanilla bean kind of finish to it though. Very smooth, very smooth. I'm gonna try a little straight.
Yeah, you should definitely try some straight.
Always true. Oh, yeah.
All right, here's the straight.
All right, nice. Take a good smell. Get a good smell. Yeah.
It smells like nothing to me. Unfortunately, I mean, there's no like distinguishing aroma. Sweet, not too sweet. It's not real thick or syrupy either. It's nice consistency,
Okay.
but I don't know. It's a good cognac for sure, but my recollection of what I had last night with the Hennessy VSOP, I would give it to the Hennessy VSOP. I wish I had them side by side right now to you know.
Were you smoking a cigar at the time, or?
I was, yeah.
All right, well that could definitely affect the flavor. Then.
Yeah, it could have. And I already had like about 4 what's it called?
8
4
balls.
pilsners. I had like 4 pilsners before that too.
4
so-
pills. 4 pills. 4 32-ounce pilsners.
They're two 22-ounce pilsners, so probably 40 ounces of beer. You know?
I never understood the thing about, you know, tasting different brands of alcohol, especially like cognac or wine. I never could really just figure out what the difference is. I mean, there are some differences, but I never could understand, like, how can people tell that this has a vanilla taste or a tobacco flavor or something?
Gotta drink a lot of it.
The only drink I can literally say I know a lot about and I can
Orange
tell
juice.
the difference. No, it's beer. So I can tell the difference between one beer and another beer.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
It's what you
positive-
put the time into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it might be.
If someone gives me a blindfold and puts like 7 different type of beers in front of me, I will guess them all. I'm just like,
Nice.
I'm 100% confident I will guess them. It's like, you know, I've been drinking beer my whole life. I know about this thing.
You put the time in. You got your 10,000 hours to make it
1,000
professional.
hours.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Anyway, guys, you want to try this? You got to come to my homestead.
Nice.
Invitations open.
Book in the
Got
flight
handicap
right
access, BB. No excuses.
Right.
Yeah, got a parking garage underneath. So it'll be here if you guys ever want to try it.
now.
Ooh, this Saturday.
Send the location, bro.
Send
Yeah.
the location. Yeah.
I'll book it right now.
I will,
This Saturday.
and I'm gonna try. Maybe I'll even have another one by at some point. I might still go back and get that VSOP so I could do the side by side. I don't know. We'll see though. We'll see.
With it, man.
What?
Summons again. This time from the bottled city.
Oh.
Jennifer.
Hey.
Hi, Gene
Awesome.
Jafar.
I was just about to talk about you.
Ad hoc.
Hey.
Thank you. It was a good one. It was good. It was chill. It was chill, but it was nice. Just spend. I had a nice dinner with Mom and Dan, and then little after party, little really good cigar too. It was 1999. The leaves, I guess. I don't really know. I guess it was the brand. I have to look it up on my phone. But it was this Rocky Patel's brand, like cigarettes. And the guys there down at Burn are so knowledgeable. They're humidor. These guys know everything about it. But I want to show you guys some pictures. But
okay, Rocky Patel. That's they made a movie about him. Is Mask, right? Mask.
Oh, maybe no, I don't think so. No.
Yeah, with Stoltz, Eric Stoltz. Rocky Patel.
From what country? What is that tobacco? Cuban, Nicaragua, Puerto Rico, from where?
Cuban is the big one. Everybody wants the Cuban cigars.
Hey, Ad Hoc, by the way, for your birthday,
Mhm.
Ad Hoc, take a look. You were the Mach 5 back in the day. 5 was your number. There you go.
Thank you.
Baby.
Everyone knows about the Cuban cigarettes, but they're not necessarily better than other cigars. Like Cuban cigars are the most famous, but they're not necessarily.
What's that, Dave? I know. I told Adrian that we have to get together like soon.
It's all marketing there, Krampus.
I did.
I've been waiting to talk about that. I've been waiting to talk about
that.
Just today. I got them today. Yeah.
BB was too busy talking about murders for the first
murder and pedophilia and police.
Were you dreaming about it
murders.
again, or?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was the fun kind.
Rocky Patel vintage 1999 Connecticut leaves.
Hand of
Connecticut.
Damron, everyone.
Super smooth.
The Hand of Damron.
Hand of Damron.
Oh, you missed last week. The Hand of Damron was a naked bear.
Yeah.
He was shirtless.
I know.
hairy.
I know that.
You know it.
Damron well. It's
You do.
generally
You do.
how he presents in my world.
Yes. Yeah, he presented well.
It was like James Fargo that last week you had presented as a naked bear, and the Hand of Damron was a naked bear.
Look at me with the cigar.
There you go, Krampus.
Hey, that's right.
MG was
It was also a Cuban cigar.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt a little bit special on that night. I was like, just let me buy a cigar from the few money I have as a student. So let me spend half of my budget to get a good cigar.
Yeah. Yeah, the cigars down there are they're about 10 or 11 US dollars. It isn't too bad. It was pretty big. Big ones too. Yeah, if you guys ever want to go down there, I'll go. It's a nice place to go. But so that's it.
Lovely.
We turned the murder around.
Thank you. Yeah, well done. Well done. I was bouncing. Oh, Jafar, you missed it. I was bouncing. I was angrily bouncing out of the big room. It was like my half
was like, I'm not
up.
even getting paid for this.
I'm not even getting paid for this, and I'm like, this is worse than working a whole season number 2 on Mindhunter.
Based off of what BB was talking about.
Oh dear God, yeah, he opened up.
No, we're not going there.
We're not going back there. But I was about to say right when you appeared, like a genie out of a bottle. Ad Hoc was saying, about inviting people out to Pittsburgh. It's like, well, Saturday night, Jafar and I are out on the town.
Oh.
We're gonna have a date night. We haven't had a date night in quite some time.
Well, we should all join and ruin that.
What?
I said, and you want to ruin it with these fucks? I thought.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I'm not inviting them.
The date night is
but in all honesty,
I'm challenging them to track us down.
we are going to Con
Alma.
I couldn't get Alba out of my head.
What is it?
Con Alma, Saturday night downtown. The Con Alma downtown.
Why'd
the
you guys
jazz
pick
club.
that place?
Fucking great jazz club.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Have you been?
It's a jazz club.
Yeah.
You been there?
Yeah, with last time we went, Fat Man D was there and
Oh.
Don Alico.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
ironic. Denny was just telling me
That's one of
last
the, that's one
night.
of the things I want to do if I ever go to the US, like go to the jazz bar. Seems like
Oh man, yeah. Pittsburgh's jazz is hopping again.
yeah, really.
Yeah. I mean, well, Pittsburgh has a really great
Thanks, Ron
history
Alma.
for jazz. And then it declined for quite some time, even to the point where the jazz station got absorbed into a news radio station. And just in the last year and a half, they have another jazz radio station. But
Ad
jazz has
hoc,
been
the last time we were at Con Alma and
coming
the
along pretty
Don
good.
was there, we didn't
There's
realize
jazz
how
every night
small
in
it was
Pittsburgh.
or how packed it was. So we went in and I managed to find a one seat at the bar, and like we were just gonna
Oh.
stand huddle or whatever. Don was right there at the end of the bar. He had a bar stool, so we were standing there talking with him, and
Nice.
a couple left a two-top table up right at the front where the stage was, and I said, hold on, let me see if I can work some magic. And I went over and I said to the hostess, would there be any chance that, I know it's a two top, but would there be any chance that, myself and my husband and our friend could go sit over at that table, just pull up one chair? And she looks over at our friend and she goes, oh, absolutely. Anything for Don.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
And suddenly it was
Right up
like
in front.
this really beautiful realization where I was like, let me see what I can make happen. And then it was like, oh no, I get the privilege of being with you. Oh, excellent.
Yeah. And Don loves him some Monk. Don loves him some TK.
Yeah,
I
I hope
love
he's
that
not
guy.
there that night. Otherwise, he'll ruin date night.
Well, we have a nice little history together, Don Alico and I. When I first came back to
Not us.
yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure who you were
Oh
talking
no, well, Jafar and I have okay, this is getting awkward.
You gotta watch all of them.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Denny was talking about Don saying he might try to bring Fat Man D up to Voma.
Yeah.
She's been talking about
She
it
was
too, I
mentioned last
thought.
night.
She's been talking to me about trying to get in there for a while, and last time she was going to play at the last ethnic festival, but on Sunday, and then had to cancel.
Oh, well, Denny's she's on Denny's radar, so hopefully he can get the scratch together and make it happen. That's cool. But they have an event that I actually want to go to at Voma, which is the Mardi Gras event with Mike
Oh, you
Bodolowski.
enjoyed that last year, didn't you? Or one time you
I mean, I started the event, but
I started the event.
I started.
Yeah,
it,
with
and it was
an art party.
I was epic. Yeah, no, I mean, no, that one I had Bagnato and me and DiStefano and Perna on stage getting down. And there was beads, there was everything. It was fun. But but anyway, this is Mike Bodolowski Sr. That's doing it.
His son, by the way, Krampus, Mike Bodolowski, jazz legend in the Western Pennsylvania area.
Real good drummer.
Taught, and also taught at the university. But his son is the drummer was the first drummer for Black Cat Moan when we were a three-piece. Well, Zach Bodolowski.
Mike Bono, what's his name? Mike Bono what?
Bodolowski.
BODOL.
It's like bottle of sky.
I don't think there's any V in there, though, T. I think it's just BODOLSKY.
Bottle of
Bodolowski.
Right. It's like bottle of sky.
There's another O there.
No Bodolowski.
Yeah, okay.
BODOLOSKY.
Speaking
Wow.
about jazz, you
Hi.
guys know, I guess
Why?
you know Beth Hart?
Maybe
Say that
Beth,
again, Krampus.
Beth Hart and Joe Bonamassa.
Bonamassa.
Joe
Yeah.
Bonamassa, yeah.
Yeah,
Bonamassa, yeah.
Beth Hart and Joe Bonamassa are coming this summer to Romania to a jazz festival.
Oh,
It will be my first time seeing them.
oh, nice.
Right.
They've been
I
touring for a couple of years now, Beth Hart and Joe Bonamassa together, and I'll be seeing them this summer.
Yeah,
oh,
that'll
that's
be
cool,
cool. That's
man.
gonna be really cool, man.
Yeah. Do you guys know Eric Gales as well?
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, Eric Gales is a drummer and a guitarist.
Wow, drummer and guitarist.
Yeah, drummer and guitarist. Yeah, he mainly plays guitar, but he can play drums as well. I've seen him. He came to actually my hometown on a blues
It's all
festival.
the O's but SKY.
Gotcha.
Okay. Good job. Well, that's cool. Props to Krampus again for
For no good
some
music.
obscure music knowledge. Very good job, dude. You're doing good. You're doing good with your life, Krampus. Proud
Don't
of
let
you.
me tell you
Proud of you.
different.
You're representing
Hey,
well.
Ad Hoc,
That's me.
I want to say happy birthday to you and good night to the rest of you.
I gotta do it as well. I
That's
got
such
a
a
4
Stay
a.m.
and
call.
play. Stay
No,
and
no, no,
play.
no, no. I still have to wake up at 4:30.
Well, when do you say goodnight? It's only like 5:20 a.m.
That's true.
Krampus, you're late night
God
guy.
love you, Krampus.
It's mainly on these days with you guys, because for
Right.
the past couple of years, this is usually the time I was about to wake up, like 6 a.m. But I was like, yo, I gotta get on with the guys tonight, so I stayed.
Nice. Nice.
Krampus. Love you,
Cheers.
Sabby.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Yes.
everybody.
Here's the good friends. The night is the big room's kind
Kind
of
of special.
Indeed, indeed. All right. Well, I
It
love
is
you,
kind of special.
Jeannie. Love you, Mutt.
Love you,
Stay
my
warm.
brother. Happy
Stay,
birthday.
stay
Happy you
warm
be
the
you.
next few days, man. It's getting freakish cold on Friday.
Yeah,
Freaking
what's
Friday,
the
cold.
temperature doing? Yeah, for you in Romania, by the way.
Yeah, Friday's gonna be like fucking -1.
In
Really?
Romania?
No. Right
Or
now,
here?
Yeah, what's the temperature right there?
let me do the conversion to Fahrenheit.
Oh,
Yeah, I gotta do the conversion. So right now it's 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
okay. That's not too bad.
It's like
That's
0 degrees.
That's
Here
Celsius.
in
freezing.
Bucharest, the weather is usually warmer than the rest of the country. But if I no, my hometown is probably like 20 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It's a warm winter, especially in the cities.
Here
We
as
got
well.
snow just a couple of days ago, which is really unusual because in the capital city in Bucharest, where I'm right now, for the last like I don't know 10 years it hasn't snowed. It was just cold and no snow, and now it has snowed, and it didn't snow in my hometown, which is in the northern part of Romania next to Ukraine, and we got snow like every winter. Like I can't remember a winter when I was small that we didn't get like a couple of meters of snow. It was like snowy till like the middle of November or something like that. And then we didn't get any snow until a couple of days ago in Bucharest and in my hometown as well. In the mountainous parts there is snow, but on the cities it hasn't snowed as much. So global warming.
Global weirding.
I get a sip for you
Yeah,
guys.
and it snowed in the desert. I don't know if you guys saw in the Sahara
Climate
Desert.
chaos is what
In the
they
Sahara
should have
Desert?
branded it.
Global weirding.
Yeah, the world
All right.
is unusual. to
That's
say the-
changing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
planet core is changing.
it's a
Hey, I
bit-
really do gotta jump though. I got
Okay, bro.
early morning.
Are we on for Saturday?
No, we're not on it for Saturday.
Okay.
What?
Right, that would have been this Saturday. No, we can't be. We can't be. The kids are no, we can't be.
Well, that breaks the once every 2 week streak.
It does.
Well, we made it once.
What about tomorrow?
Well, you know what? You and the lads can be, but I cannot. Would that be all right?
I wouldn't care, but I think it'd be better to keep it a family affair. I think they'd enjoy it more if they were
with Papa beer.
with all.
Well,
With,
to start
with
out, maybe, but
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
yeah, I can't do Saturday.
yeah. I think you gotta be there for the first trip into the dungeon.
Yeah, I think so too. Frozen.
Yeah.
Frozen for real.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's frozen.
it was about to go off as well. Oh, look, there it is.
Oh, now he's jumping around. Hey, the 5 on his shirt changed to a 4. That's weird. That's,
That is weird.
that is weird, right? It's a
Yeah.
bit of, some
Talking
kind of
about
magic trick.
talking about jazz clubs, you guys said Pittsburgh was a big like jazz place. You know, whenever I think about the U.S. and music, like jazz and blues, I can't help it, but you know, New Orleans is like the go-to spot.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
New Orleans is like the birthplace of blues music and jazz music.
yeah. It sucks. I've never been there, man.
You've never been to New Orleans?
Never been there.
Oh, wow.
But if you come over, I'll go.
Imagine I go there before you.
I mean, it's possible. It's certainly possible.
What's this layout? It's like,
Yeah, I don't know what happened to TK left and everything went
oh, yeah,
went
there you go.
haywire.
There you go. That's a better layout.
Yeah, that's what it is. TK got bumped off, so I switched shit up something.
Yeah, I gotta go to New Orleans. Bro. It's like when I visit the U.S., it's a go-to.
I'm I don't think it's a forewarning or a prediction, but I have definite fears that when I go to New Orleans, I'm dying. Like that's
Ryan, why is it considered like a dangerous city?
oh yeah, it's a hugely dangerous city. Yeah,
Really?
it's usually one of the murder capitals of the world.
Yeah, but my accent will help me because
Yeah, yeah.
Americans are terrified of Eastern
Oh, I
Europe.
definitely. I mean, I want to go to New Orleans. I want. I want. There's so much about the concept I just love.
Whenever I think about dangerous cities, I remember this one stand-up gig of one, I can't remember the guy's name, in which he was talking about like different dangerous neighborhoods or something. It was like whenever I go to like a dangerous neighborhood, I fake a Russian accent. You know, it's like some thug walks up to me. It's like, yo, man, you know what neighborhood you in? It's like, you think this bad neighborhood? It's like works
You
every
think this
time.
is bad neighborhood?
Yeah. So you just fake a Russian accent and you'll get away with it.
You think this is bad neighborhood?
Yeah, because
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, but
They just don't mess with you because they're like,
it's a different type. I mean, Eastern Europe is a different type of dangerous compared to the U.S. because we don't have guns. I mean, our type of dangerous is like, you know, getting beat up and getting jumped or something.
Right.
Stab, you know, getting stabbed is the maximum because we don't have guns. But right there, you know, even if you are Conor McGregor or Habib Nurmagomedov, you can come and it's like, guy just pulls out his gun and shoots you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. But still, it doesn't matter. New Orleans is not as bad as Mexico, I think, like the cartel. So I'm definitely going. I'm
Oh yeah,
definitely
yeah. No,
going to the jazz clubs in
I'll
New
be behind
Orleans.
you, man. I would definitely. I want. I've pondered making plans to get down to New Orleans. I definitely want to get there at some point before I die. I just think that there's a decent chance that's where I'll die.
Well, if it is, bro. It's like it's a cool place to die in.
Yeah,
kind of a
yeah,
cool
yeah.
place
It's
to
yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying I want to get murdered, but there's just too many absinthe houses and you know and bars, and I can just see me just getting carried away at some point. I need to try another absinthe. Yeah, in New Orleans.
Yeah, that's a cool.
I think you gotta.
If it is to die, that's a cool place to die in New Orleans. One of the top of the list right there.
Gotta watch
Yeah.
your cup, man. You know, people be putting stuff in it.
Oh yeah.
Another one is in front of
Sit.
the statue of Christ in Rio de Janeiro. That's a cool place
Oh,
to
sure.
as well. It's like you're literally guaranteed to go to heaven. You die at the feet of like the biggest Christ statue in all of in all of
Right,
this world.
right.
Yeah. But only if you had 3 wives
Like, at
and
least
had your
3
mouth
wives.
ordained by
Yeah,
the priest.
and and at least one of them has to be underage.
Right, at least
Right.
one, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, you gotta run at least 33%.
These fucking people, man. I can't believe this guy got away with it for that long in America. How some fucking people, how,
It's,
And to this day,
how?
to this day, he is still viewed as their prophet, and he still preaches to the.
No.
maybe because like these are
He-
like very very small towns in the middle of nowhere, and they don't have like big recognition, and that's mainly I think the reason that these people get away with it.
well, I mean, they've bred
The whole town,
themselves.
I mean, the whole town was in this religion or something like
Yeah,
mainly the whole town,
It's a
and
cult. Yeah. I mean, it's a borderless
it was
wall.
the
There's no
19, like,
walls.
late 1930s is when this cult or this offshoot started, and it was when the main Mormon church, whatever year it was, it's something like 1937 or something.
yeah, so
The,
even the
the
police must be part of this religion or something.
oh
I
yeah,
mean,
the police are all.
and I mean, like the police in such a small town was like what, 10 guys at the
Yeah, the
most.
police are all devout believers of the religion.
Exactly. So yeah, that's how
You
you
know.
get away with it, because you live in the middle of nowhere. Nobody comes visit you. It's like a small ass town.
Well, they also not only was it not beyond more so than the police, all of the schools and all the teachers were devout believers. The libraries were all part of the school, all part of the church.
Yeah,
So
and when
they completely controlled all. Like the one girl that ran away. One girl ran away from them when she was 17 or something like that. And she said one of the hardest things she had. Well, the people, all of them, the guys and the girls that live in this community, none of them they have no word for rape. They had never heard the word rape before. They didn't understand when someone said you were raped. They didn't know what
Wow.
rape. They didn't know what the word rape meant. And the one girl that was 17, she said that one of the hardest things she had that affected her when she ran away was she had no cultural references whatsoever. She had never heard of Saturday Night Live. She didn't know what Saturday Night Live was. She didn't know anything like what the television show Friends or Seinfeld or anything. She had no idea what any of that was because they didn't have any of that there. They didn't read. They didn't
it's
read
really
books.
Wow.
it's
The
amazing.
schools.
It's amazing to think that this is happening is like in the most culturally diverse country in the world.
Yeah.
You get the US is, the biggest cinema, biggest television, biggest networking, and
Yeah,
this is
you'd think it would
happening
be
right in the
impossible
middle
to
of the
hide
country.
all that stuff from them, but
Exactly, yeah.
they
So
managed
that's
to.
why, that it's a
Because
biggest
the
country.
Midwest is so big and spacious, you can hide.
Yeah.
But
None
they
of
were
them.
hiding
Yeah.
in plain sight, kind of.
Yeah, it's a big ass country. So it's a country like the size of a continent. So
Man.
Yeah,
oh,
the church bought
what is
I
the
don't know
size?
what they said. It was like a huge. It was like 500 acres of land that they owned entirely in this Arizona Utah area, and and they just built their temples and their cities, and
Unbelievable.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, Salt Lake City is supposed to be really
heavy Mormon.
heavy Mormon, yeah, but also it's
The
supposed to be a
US,
beautiful
the
city.
US is almost the same size as the whole of Europe as a
Oh yeah,
continent.
yeah,
So it's a big ass country. It's
yeah.
bigger than the European Union, but it's almost as big as the whole continent. So there you
Yeah,
go.
Salt Lake City is one of the most beautiful city reveals I've seen in driving across the country. Is you drive into Salt Lake City on Route 80 at night, and you're going through the mountains, and you come around a mountain, and I don't know how many thousands of feet up you are, but you
Where
come
is
around.
the Salt Lake City? Is like west or east?
It's in the west. It's it's close to Nevada. It's
Hmm.
out in that
Oh,
area.
yeah.
And but we drove there. The first time we drove into Salt Lake City was at night, and you come around the corner, you're just thousands of feet up, and Salt Lake City's a big city. I mean, it's a big. I don't know what the population is, but it's got to be at least as big as Pittsburgh, and if not bigger.
Let me
And
quick
it's
research.
beautiful at night, man. Yeah, you just look down the valley, you see all these twinkling lights and you know different statues of it. It was amazing. It was amazing.
It has a population of 200,000.
Well, that might be smaller than
Yeah, so
Pittsburgh.
200,000 as of 2021.
I think Pittsburgh has more than that.
I think it
I
does
actually
too, but
think
not much more.
I saw a YouTube video about Salt Lake City, and it has dudes that surf in the winter. It has like I don't know if it was Salt Lake City or another city. I can't remember. I can't remember. Or it was no, it was in Michigan. That was in Michigan. Yeah, not Salt Lake City. I saw a video on YouTube about guys who surf in the during the winter in Michigan, one of the biggest lakes in the U.S.
Okay.
And yeah, there was one guy. Wait, let me see if I can find this picture. He was surfing in the winter, and he had like a big ass beard, and all of his beard was frozen. It was a
Wow.
cool picture. Wait, let me see.
Why would man? That's crazy. People do crazy shit, man.
Oh, yeah, look.
People
I
do
found it.
crazy shit from every. We run the gamut. We
Look at
really
this guy.
test. Wow.
Oh
my God.
His whole beard is frozen.
That it just took
Look
focus.
at
That
that.
is
Yeah, so
crazy.
that's in Michigan. Yeah, winter surfing on Lake Michigan.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Holy shit.
You
That's
got yeah. It's a cool video.
Hmm.
And there are a bunch of dudes who do that. Apparently, like there's this guy's a local legend, the one with the beard. But there are a couple of surfers that surf in the winter on Lake Michigan because they apparently like they have like big waves that can be like as big or almost as big as in the ocean, and they can surf on it.
Yeah. You could surf waves as little as like 2.5 feet high
Oh yeah,
off
but
the surface
you
of
know,
water.
for it to have like such a big following and such a big group of surfers, you gotta have some big waves.
Sure.
Guys, I got to do an update on this. It's delicious, actually.
Nice.
I made the mistake on the first one. I put a splash of water in it like it was whiskey, and that was my
Right.
first experience of it. You want to drink this just on the rocks. You want it ice cold, but not necessarily. I wouldn't put any water in it, and it
Good
tastes
at it.
like it kind of like it's like a muted sugar cookie. Like,
Oh,
it's got
interesting.
a sugar cookie kind of, and with like a vanilla finish, like vanilla bean finish, but there's definitely like sugar cookie in my mouth. Like but it's not sweet or syrupy. It's not a consistency of syrup. And that's what makes it cool, you know? But this is made from grapes, but it's 40% alcohol.
Cool.
Yeah, we're trying. Come on down and try some dulce.
But Jasmine, what's the
Dulce.
worst that can happen?
Great bottle though.
It is a
Yeah,
good bottle.
it looks cool,
Yeah.
especially with the Templar Knights cross or something.
Yeah.
Why doesn't this camera focus? What the fuck? Just focus. I'm out of focus, but you know.
My iPhone does that shit. Drives me crazy. It's got 3 cameras and they like switch focus between them. And I'm like, man, just pick one.
My iPhone doesn't do it. I only have 2 cameras because it's the mini version. Got the iPhone 12 mini, I think. 12 or 13, I can't remember.
Don't know.
Well, probably 13 if it's the newest one. But
Yeah,
I think they came out with the 14, didn't it?
I don't know if it's the 14 mini yet out. I know the 14 is out. I don't know if they had a mini version of it. I'm guessing this is a 13 mini, I think. Wait, let me see.
Whew. Got me feeling nice.
Yeah, it's an iPhone 13.
Okay. Yeah, I just
Oh my
drank that
God,
much.
the focus, bro. What is it? It's on close focus. Look, it focuses right on my hand, but when I go behind,
Yeah.
it doesn't focus.
Oh,
So
I want
fuck
to
it.
send another thanks to my mom and dad who basically bought this for me.
Oh, nice.
With the, they gave me the cash gift, and I converted it into a portion of their cash gift into this beautiful bottle.
A good investment.
Yeah,
Right.
man, it's definitely it's a special one, So I'm gonna try to keep it around as long as I can, and I'll buy some cheaper stuff to go
Oh, yeah.
through on the day to day.
How old are you now? What
Oh, we don't talk about that. We don't need to talk
Oh
about
my God, bro! This is something I've hated all my life because I don't know if you guys have this, but in Romania there's a saying like you don't ask a woman her age or a man his salary.
that. The
Okay.
salary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Unwritten rules. Yeah.
and I never understood this. Like it's like how is
Well,
this happening to someone? Asking a woman her age or a man his salary. It's like, bro, tell me. If you don't want to tell me, it's okay, but you can't.
yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean,
but really, but
age
now
is it's like
tell me how. What's your age
well,
like?
I'm 51. No.
51, really,
Yes.
bro.
This is
You're
the thing. Like, age is relative to different people, and that's the thing. Like, there's
for you.
there's
It's
30
relative.
there's 30-year-olds that are destroyed by the time they're 30. They just
That's what I
destroy
was.
their body somehow. I don't know how, because
That's what I
Lord
was about.
knows
I,
we've
I,
done our share. We've drank, and drank again, and I still look like this. So I look at other people. I'm like, you
no,
led a shittier
you're-
life than me. What did you just do? Just like it must be potato chips and sugar or something all the time because we ate
Oh my
Doritos.
God. You look like
And not
you're
potato
at
chips.
most like 35, 6 something.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
mean,
man. I
and
know.
this is not like a way of being polite because I'm from Eastern Europe. I don't know about this stuff like being polite. So telling someone, oh, you don't look a day over 30.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah,
Okay.
fuck
yeah,
that.
I'm not that type of guy. But this is honest. Honestly, you don't look your age, bro. It's like 30, 35, maybe.
I mean, I definitely got
I
some like
knew you were older, but I was expecting like saying you were
I
like
got some
30,
eye wrinkles.
44 or
I got
43.
new eye wrinkles that have popped up last year, like in here. Like
Bro,
I'm like,
I got eye wrinkles and I'm 22. So, that's not a telling.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But what are you gonna do? All I know is that every year on my birthday, man, I definitely deal with some like mood swings, and I think like last year was the best one because I went skiing, and I went skiing with Mariah, and it was just a good distraction. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing, like doing something, doing an event with somebody, and I think next year I definitely got to do that because. Like this year, I just had, if you're by yourself, man, there's too much shit that goes on in your head of 50 years of, memories or whatever the case may be, however many years you're around. But there's definitely there's like,
You were born in 72, right?
71.
yes,
Or you were 72.
he was
Yeah.
71. I'm 72. Yeah.
So that's the same year my dad was born in.
Really?
Yeah, so my dad is the same age as you, and last year when he turned 50, before he turned
What's your
50,
dad look like?
wait, he looks like Leonardo DiCaprio actually. I don't know why, but to me he looks like just exactly like Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't know. Wait, let me find it. This is my dad.
He does have a Leonardo DiCaprio kind of.
Yeah, I could totally see that as a.
I mean, he looks like Leonardo DiCaprio. Just like get the beard going on. But
Yeah, he looks like I wouldn't want to scrap with him either.
Yeah, he has blue eyes as well, just like Leonardo DiCaprio. And I've seen people keep telling him he looks like Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, but let me get back to the story. Before he was turning 50, he's born on the 25th of August. A couple of days before, and we were drinking a couple of beers, and I asked him, like, what sounds worse, you turning 50 or half a century? Like, what's the worst sounding part of it? And it's like he was like he looked me in the eyes and he said, "Bro, both sound like shit." But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean, I'm not fond of the numbering,
but
and
it's just, again, age is just a number.
I had
Because
these girls, I had these young girls in my car the other day that were like, "Oh, cool," and then they were like, they're like little college girls, and then they're all like flirty and stuff, and then they asked me like how old I am. I'm like, we ain't gonna talk about that, and they're like, no, 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 and they just wouldn't let it go, and but she goes, I no, she's like, I want to know if you can relate. And I'm like, we're all humans. Of course, I'm gonna relate. Like you from your perspective at 21 to say something like that, but then afterwards, like I just felt like it was skewed. Like you really don't understand that certain people people do age differently and also mentally, but I think mentally adjust the physical somehow. The two maybe are, I mean, they must be connected, but I don't know, man. It was just like, but then I thought more about what she said, and I thought maybe she was just gonna make like a pop television reference, which I don't watch television. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I grew up with Rugrats or something, and it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I didn't watch Rugrats because you know what I mean. So if it was like that, or like, they watch like there's certain pop icons, cultural icons that they grew up with, SpongeBob or stuff like this. SpongeBob was great. It's a great show. But there's other things too, like maybe that they wanted to, I was like, she's like, I just want to know if you can relate to, but I was like, on a human level, of course I can relate. On a pop reference level, yeah, you're right. You're right. I didn't grow up with that. That wasn't part of my fond memories of being 10, for instance. But I just don't know. I just never really. Some people are so fucking nostalgic, and I think that ages you as well because you're really living in the past instead
Yeah.
of just living in the now. And I think that I think what we do in the big room the really well, TK Monk and BB is all we live in the now. Like the now's always happening, and really don't. We're not super nostalgic. I mean, we do have our nostalgia things that obviously we
Everyone has
reference.
nostalgia.
That's part of our shared experience,
Yeah.
but it's not really part of like. I mean, certain things are part of the larger experience, part of the collective consciousness, and you do kind of find your tribe with certain references. I mean, today, for another instance, like I was playing Mac Miller in my car, who I didn't really discover until he already died. And but younger college kid was like, yeah, this is like part of my normal playlist, like huge Mac Miller fan. I was like, so am I. So we're connected that way, but not even though we discovered it at different times. So yeah, I don't know. Things can connect people, but I just think the human experience is like to say, oh, well, you're this age and I'm that age, like we can't relate. It's just really kind of foolhardy on a surface level. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I like
I
the whole Japanese culture. Yeah, I mean, the Japanese culture view it. Your age isn't something to be hidden. It's something to be respected.
Yeah.
And you know, it shows another year of you surviving on this planet, learning things, becoming more of who you actually are.
Yeah,
So
I think
I,
there's a lot of truth to that.
yeah, and so I agree
A
with
lot
you.
of
That I think
logic.
that, and it's not even a relating thing or a nostalgia thing. In a lot of the cases, what you were talking about, it's just stories. Every year that you're here on the planet is 1 year of time where you can develop and create stories. where you can create, even if those stories are just moments. I'm a big believer that at the end of my life, the moments are going to be the thing I remember. It's not
Yeah.
going to be necessarily the grand adventure or not, but it's going to be moments. I'm going to remember hanging out on the piers in Honduras with Dave, drinking rum and smoking a cigar. I'm going to remember, you, me, and T at the top of the ramp. Those moments. And
Yeah.
that's not. If you took a 17-year-old and put them in a similar scenario, they could relate perfectly fine to it. It's just that they've only had a certain number of years. So people do different things with the years that they have. It's all about building those stories for yourself. So I celebrate every birthday as another year that I've beaten, that I've conquered, that I've lived through, that I've learned, that I've taken my time to experience something new. And if you're at a point in your life where you have an issue understanding that or being able to relate to it, doesn't bother me at all. It would never work out between me and you anyway. But you know, Krampus is 30 years younger than I am, and I feel like I relate to him perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there's certain people
I
that
agree to this. Imagine,
you
for
go ahead,
example,
Cramp.
it's not it's not just the age, like culture different, because maybe like people from your country, from the US that are my age, cannot relate to me because I have a whole lot of different experience. They grew up watching SpongeBob. I grew up watching Scooby Doo. I never watched SpongeBob because on our Romanian television we didn't have SpongeBob. We had Scooby Doo. We had Scooby Doo and I can't what's the name? Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh,
I
sure,
believe,
yeah.
yeah, in English. So we had that on television as a cartoon. So I didn't grow up watching SpongeBob because we didn't have that on television. And then again, the music as well. Most of the US teens grew up listening to like Justin Bieber or
Yeah,
you know, I don't know,
Britney
different guys.
Spears
Yeah,
or
Britney
Dr.
Spears.
30.
I mean, I started listening to Justin Bieber like a year ago, I think, when he started, turning out with good music. Now
Yeah.
kind of old, like it was a teenage dream or something. I didn't grew up, listening to Justin Bieber or watching SpongeBob, so like I cannot relate to my generation, from a different country, especially the US. For me, I can relate to you guys more because I grew up in a different part of the world and I grew up watching different stuff and listening to different stuff. So I can relate to you guys more than I can relate to my own generation from your country.
Sure.
And
Good
in
point.
Romania,
Good
talking
point.
about, you gotta respect the age. In
Yeah, and
Romania,
then there's also like life experience. Like some
yeah,
people do amazing things by the time they're 27,
yeah,
and then they
and
die.
have
Maybe they
more
die. Maybe they
experience
die
than
at
us,
27,
like,
but they go on to influence music for the rest of history, like Jimi Hendrix and
Sure.
many other people in
yeah,
the
we have
27
a
Club.
great example. Yeah, he was
But
27.
yeah, it's like, or like fucking Kurt Cobain. I mean, the list goes on, right? Like, but like some people, they're just gonna have a more robust life in a shorter period of time than somebody who's 50 and is like, oh, my day job. I went to work, came back, and then I watched TV, and then
Yeah.
I just don't know. It's just like, okay, that's one version, that's one way to do life. But there's as many different ways to do life as there are people on the planet.
Uh-huh.
And the culture in what you're born into does obviously dictate a lot of that. But as you become an adult, hopefully you're able to experience some different cultures and
That's the biggest thing, man. I think,
environments.
yeah, I know T agrees with it too, but I mean, people who don't travel at all are,
They,
they're, they're
that's a wasted life for me if you don't travel.
yeah, yeah,
If you're not learning about the world you live in, and if you're not seeing different places, it's
Yeah.
like, for me, it's like you lived for nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
Europeans are much more hip to that too. They're much
And
more
there's so many people
open to travel.
from Johnstown that I've met, who just they well, I went down to fucking Maryland Beach, you know, went down to Maryland Beach for a vacation. That's it though. Yeah, I mean, like,
They
Yeah.
never
yeah,
left the country.
Went to Ocean City. Went to Virginia
Ocean
Beach.
City, yeah, yeah, there's so many things, you know,
Made
there's
it to
so
New
many
York
things to
once.
see. Yeah, there's so many
Yeah,
things to
this
see, so
is
many things to experience, so many things to try. That's why, anytime I go somewhere, if I have a choice between eating at a restaurant I've never heard of and a fucking, Olive Garden or Red Lobster,
Right.
I'm going to eat at the place I never heard of.
But many
You know,
people will choose Olive Garden.
my sister Lala's like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Because it's
you know,
good. It's familiar.
yeah, she knows she knows what the options are. She knows what she knows what she's going to get. It's going to taste like this.
Yeah.
It's
And honestly, I did go to the Olive Garden. My first experience was terrible. Last time I went, it was actually really good.
yeah,
And I saw what the appeal was because I got really nice seafood dishes, and I was like, oh, okay, this is actually reasonably priced. It was good quality,
yeah.
calamari,
And I
etc.
think they all have their place. I think there's nothing wrong with it. Whatever it is, whether it's a
I
Red
wanted,
Lobster or
wanted to say another thing on that topic before we move on. In the Romanian language, when you address someone that is older than you, you have a different pronoun by which you use it. It's like a way of saying you, but in a more polite way. It's like saying a type of like sir or ma'am. So when you
Yeah.
address someone that is, significantly older than you, like part of the older generation, you address them by a different pronoun than you would use like when addressing a guy your age. And this was something, people always have like different opinions on this. Younger guys can be disrespectful towards the older generation if they don't address them by this pronoun. But for me, I always, when I saw an older guy, just like even 10 years older than me, I use this pronoun because it's like a form of respect, a form of being polite. But then as the conversation goes on, I can tell if the guy deserves my respect and
right.
deserves me calling him, sir or ma'am. It's like that's an example of saying it. And if he doesn't deserve it, then I will switch my pronouns and address him as a guy like being my own age, because it's a respect thing. And if I don't respect you, then I will not address you as the pronoun of policy, that of like being part of
Yeah.
And that's just. I
right,
mean,
right.
the concept of that is great in any direction. Like, I don't disrespect anybody that's younger than me just because they're younger. And I
Yeah.
don't respect anybody that is younger or older than me just because they're younger or older.
Yeah. You
Respect
don't
is
know what they went through
no, you have
at
no idea what they went
13,
through.
Yeah.
14,
Yeah,
15. Yeah.
and
They could have been Mormon.
learn the person, right, until you get to know someone, that's respect is earned. That's a saying for a reason.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
man. Trust is earned and respect is earned too. But
I
like with
always
the
respected it.
formalities of the respect, I have people do that to me, and sometimes I feel like I see where it's coming from, and I do appreciate it. It's like there's a recognition. It's like, we recognize you're older than me. But at the same time, it's like there's always this. It does feel like it kind of creates a layer of separation of our humanity, and the
A
shared
little bit,
humanity. And
yeah.
it's like, oh, dude,
I'm a quickly
everybody
jump on.
cries. I don't care what language you speak, your laughter sounds the same, and when you cry, it sounds the fucking same. We're all human. We're all earthlings. And do we need the formalities? There's a time and a place for it, and it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. It's the context in which you say it, and if it's coming from that place of, no, man, I'm saying this because I actually like respect, and I acknowledge that you're more worldly or have more experience, or but is it superiority? It's not a superiority thing, and I don't feel like you should deserve it. Like you said, like I guess Krampus's point is just like, just because you're older doesn't necessarily mean that you deserve it, because you could still be a piece of shit that just happened to live a long time.
Yeah.
And at that point, fuck you, So,
and in some cases, it's not even really
communication.
There are people that
Choice.
that go through experiences that I hear the experience. I think to myself, "Wow, that must have really formed you into a good, upstanding, whatever, open-minded person." But it doesn't necessarily. That's the other thing about humans. That you take two humans, put them through the exact same scenario, and they come out two completely different people from each other. It doesn't affect them both the same way.
Right.
Yeah, and this is a really good example because older people. I mean, I always respected older people because in general they have more life experience and wiser and whatnot. But for example, for me, I'm 21 and I lost my grandma who I grew up with, and I lost two friends, one to suicide and one to a motorcycle accident. And there are people that are 50 or 40 that haven't lost anyone.
Yeah.
And
exactly. Your growth is exponential in those moments of pain.
Yeah, it's a big moment in your life when you first lose someone.
It's an opportunity for growth. But to BB's point, also when you go through traumatic experiences or anything like that, there's an opportunity for growth, but it doesn't mean that you need to take it. Because most people, apparently, this is the scientific case that most people view life through what's called a victim lens. So it's the lens of your glasses is how you view the world. Is it rose-colored? Are you an optimist or are you pessimist? That's just the beginning of it. But your participation in anything, is it shit that happens to you or shit, you take responsibility for your actions? Most people, like the majority, like over 50% of people are like, they want to, when shit goes wrong, when shit goes right, they put their hands up. When shit goes wrong, they're looking to somebody else to point the finger at.
Yeah, to point the blame.
Instead of just taking ownership of it. And then that category of people that say, "Nah, you're right, I fucked up. I'll take ownership of that." But like, you're going to get more respect, and your growth as a human being is going to be a lot greater. And then also the things that happen to you that aren't your fault, like you can move past them and through them and maybe turn that lemon into lemonade, because that same, what's the word? Like ethos, the same, it becomes part of you, that you're taking ownership, whether the shit's good or bad. I'm fucking claiming it, all of it. On my mama, that's the realest shit.
Yeah.
To quote Kendrick Lamar. So that's it.
Yeah, no, there's no question about that. I mean, there's no, I had that experience when I was, before I even met Ad Hoc and T.
Yeah.
I had some friends. I had two other friends that both had muscular dystrophy. Same kind that I had. And they were told the same things by their doctors and all that. And again, this is where I thank it's not just even personal, but to a degree, it's your family and those around you as well. Because, my mom and dad, despite the fact that being told that, hey, Brian, if he gets sick,
Who that?
Okay.
I think there's a drug deal going down.
It's not a drug deal, bro. This is my roommate.
Why would that preclude it being a drug deal?
Yeah, drug deals don't usually happen in apartments.
Oh. But anyway, and despite the fact that they were told, hey, Brian's got this. If he gets sick, he could die. You got to keep him away. You got to keep him healthy. You got to watch him. They
Got to keep
wanted
them in a bubble.
me to
basically.
go out and play in the snow. They never stopped. You or T
Yeah.
from coming over, us going out and roaming the
Yeah.
streets. And the two other friends that I had, they both died before they were fucking 13 because they
Wow.
never left the house. Their parents wouldn't let them. They had to protect them.
That is true, man. Like your parents deserve a lot of credit because they're willing. It's like that saying, like if you love the bird, you got to let it fly free, and it's gonna be painful. Everybody, there's another saying, but like if before I move on to that, you're the baby, you're their baby, and that's you can imagine, but they're like, no, let them live and just experience shit.
Yeah, what's it going to be worth if he lives to be 30 years old and never goes out and sees
And
anything?
is sheltered and never saw fucking
Yeah.
life and
Never
never experienced
experiences anything,
anything and
yeah.
just lived it in a fucking plastic bubble. Like,
Yeah.
no, they were like, no. And to their credit, they had that conversation between
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah,
and,
but
and
instead,
agreed.
Lar, my baby sister, calls me randomly from time to time just to see where I am. Because, the one time she called and she was like, hey, Brian, where you at? And I was like, well, right now I'm sitting in front of the reflecting pool at Elvis's Graceland and, next to the tomb of Elvis. And, just hanging out. We're hanging out at a reflecting pool, and and I think that later we might go to the rock and roll, or not the rock and roll, the Nashville Museum of Rock, and she's like, "Where are you at again?" I said, "I'm in Graceland. I'm at Graceland right now. Elvis's estate." And she said, "See, I just live vicariously through you, because I call you and I have no idea where you're gonna be. Remember that time you called me from the Grand Canyon? I'm like, yeah, I do. I remember that time I called you from the Grand Canyon, and you and she was like, yeah, I just love that. I just imagine what it would be like to do that. And I
I
was
can,
like,
I can, I can definitely relate to that because usually during the summer I have like moments when I want to go out on my motorcycle, just roam the country.
hell
And
yeah,
the only person that knew, I mean, my family knew what I was like, my mom and my dad, but there were moments like my mom would call me like at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. It's like, hey, where are you? Expecting for me to be in the city. And it was like 400 kilometers away on my motorcycle. I was like, yeah, I'm in, different place. Like I was like, I should have been in New York, but I was like in California. So
right,
like,
right, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
and she was like, what are you doing there? I was like, it's I got on the road and the road, kind of
yeah,
longer than it was supposed to. And I got carried on, I got
Bruh.
carried by the
Yeah.
wind.
You got to read that book, On the Road,
On
by
the
Jack
road.
Kerouac. It's a small little book. It's tiny, but it's about life. You just really conjured in that statement, really embodied what that whole book is about, which is the door of opportunity and the mystery that lies behind the door, and then the road less chosen, right? And it's like, and the freedom, and then what you feel when you're on a motorcycle is like there's nothing around you, but because there is no vehicle around you, yeah, you're more fragile, but through that fragility, you have access to more beauty. Because you can see everything. There's no glass. There's no metal. You see the country in a different way, and I think the book. He does a great job of writing very poetically, but also it's just a little story about a motorcycle journey across the country, and some of the things that he experiences, and it's just really cool. And yeah, it's
I
worth
remember
reading. It's a short read. You can read it in like a day.
Okay, I remember the quote from The Hobbit.
oh yeah,
Yeah, actually from The Lord of the Rings, not The Hobbit, but it was by Bilbo Baggins. He was addressing, he was talking to Frodo, and he said, "It's a dangerous business, Frodo, going out your door. You step onto the road, and if you don't keep your feet, that's where you might be swept off to.
Yeah.
So,
Great
yeah,
one, Krampus.
I
Great
remember this
fucking
quote when you were
dude.
saying this.
Virtual high five. That's it. That's it. That's it. Some people live a sheltered life, and then they're fucking 50 when they're 27. And then
Oh yeah.
we're still 27 when we're 50.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know. It's like, the mind too is very selective. I will say, like, I think that there is some good analogies in the idea of like the brain, like having a storage capacity like a hard drive. How many terabytes is it? It's hundreds of terabytes, right? Like whatever, maybe thousands, depending on your intelligent quotient. Like that's the hard drive. Everybody's born with different processor, like your computation speed. And that's what we loved about role-playing games, is like that's what you fucking roll up. Like that's your intelligence. Wisdom, though, is a different thing because it's intelligence. It's what you can read in a book and how fast you can try to understand it, but you don't really understand it until you add it to experience. Now it's an equation. Knowledge plus experience equals wisdom. Wisdom, therefore, you have a greater chance to acquire wisdom with what? The ingredient of time.
Yeah.
Some people fucking die young at 13 because they have MS or cancer or whatever. Other people, you don't have that. And then you have the opportunity to step out on the road, to step through the door. Do you take it or do you live in fear? And that's what it is. BB never lived in fear. And he inspired me and the monk so much to go,
I believe
fuck
that.
it, man. Like, yeah, you're right. Like
when you were young, I mean, what did the doctors tell you? Like, what was your like life expectancy?
When I was born, they actually misdiagnosed me at first. They told my parents that I'd probably be dead before I was 5. They said
Wow.
you'll be lucky if he makes it till he's 5. And then I was 6, and I was still doing okay. I was in a wheelchair, but I wasn't sickly. I wasn't, I was going to kindergarten and whatnot. And then I was 7. The doctor said, "Yeah, we were surprised he's doing this well, but he's not going to make it that far. Cherish, get him to experience and live as much as you want." And I just kept on going out, and we were playing kickball together in the yards, and all that. And then at some point they were like, "Look, he has to have back surgery, because his spine is not holding up right." And I had been in braces for most of my childhood, one brace or another. And so I was 13.
which are painful because they rub in certain
Oh yeah,
areas.
and the one brace was like, it was a hard plaster brace. It was like a plastic brace that they laid you down. They'd taken a plaster cast of my torso and they built it. I had to wear it 23 hours a day. So I slept with it, and I only got to take it off for like an hour a day. I did that for a year or a year and a half, I think, leading up to my surgery. And then they're like, he's got to have this surgery. If he doesn't have the surgery, there's no way he makes it to 17. If he does, then he could live a good bit longer. And the parents were like, well, what's the deal with the surgery? And they're like, well, if we're being honest with you, there's a 75% chance that he'll die in the surgery. Because it's going to take 13 hours.
It's
A
traumatic.
13-hour surgery. We're gonna cut him from the back of his neck down to his tailbone, open up his entire back, cut from the tailbone over to the hip, and then we're gonna sew a bunch of metal rods into his spine. And they're like, he at best he has a 25% survival rate.
Roll the dice,
And my
baby.
parents at 12, my parents told me, it's your call, Brian. We're not going to make you do this. Yeah, we're not going to make you do this, and we're not going to stop you from doing this. Your dad has good insurance through the fire company. It'll cover it. So it's your call. And I told them at 13, I said, I don't die on an operating table. I don't know how I die, but I'm not dying on an operating table.
Apparently, it's New Orleans.
It could be New
That's
Orleans.
that's a
50.
badass quote right there.
And I said,
That's
let's do it. And so then we did it, and sure enough, got through there. And then I'll never forget when I was 17, and the doctor just said, "I give up. I'm not making. I'm not telling you. I don't know. I don't understand, and I have
They're
no
like,
idea."
you've
how long."
proven me wrong this many fucking years.
Yeah.
I fold. The doctor
Yeah.
is like,
He's like, I don't know. I don't know how long he's gonna live. And I've never been on any kind of oxygen or any kind of medicine. I take like the lowest dosage of medicine for high blood pressure.
you're like Ozzy Osbourne. You're like a medical miracle.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
And
but
fucking,
Like it's
Richard.
it's really inspirational to me because from the moment I've met you, I've never felt like I've seen a lot of a lot. I mean, I've met disabled people, and some just give up on themselves
Oh
and
yeah.
like feel sorry for themselves, like I'm disabled, whatever. But I've never felt this way about you because the way you carry yourself and the way you speak and the way you talk. You have such a personality that I've never the thought never crossed my mind like, wow, this guy feels sorry for himself that he's in this situation. You made the most out of it, and bro, you're 51, right? 52.
No, I'll be 52 in July.
52, yeah. So it's like
Fucking
you're
10x.
such an inspiration, bro. I don't know if you know this, but for
Oh
me,
yeah. I mean,
it's like, and even knowing you like through virtual, interaction, and not even being able to meet you guys,
Yeah,
especially
bro.
you. It's like what? It's now 2 years since I've
Yep.
first come on here. I believe 2 years, I think.
yeah, about 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and every day
Fucking
I
thing,
see
man.
you, and I just like talk to normal guys, like normal dudes, like jokes and whatever. He's good.
Yup.
Got a good spirit, like a
Yeah,
strong
you
personality.
so
strong-
quickly forget that he has anything wrong with him at all.
Even today,
100%, 100%
Physically, you know?
of the times I forget about this.
Yeah, K-Rock, Todd,
emotional.
K-Rock, Monk, all of us at one time or another will come by or come back and be like, "Oh, hey, dude, you got to go to so and so, a new place, a new restaurant, a new whatever," and I'll say, "Can I get into it?" And they'll be like, "Oh, right, I'm not sure. I didn't even think of that. I think there might be steps." But they don't even think of the wheelchairs being something that could prove difficult getting into there. But yeah, listen, I think I definitely thank my parents and for giving me that freedom when I was young because they could have put the clamp down on me. I don't know what I would have done. Yeah, if the
Yeah.
parents would, but I mean we were out playing Dungeons and Dragons and kickball and wiffle ball.
A lot of parents would use their authority
Yeah.
to clamp down, like you said, and say, no, I know what's best.
Yeah.
And your parents didn't do that, man. And
No.
man, rest in peace, mama too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as tough as your dad is, and his dad's is a tough guy. He's a tough guy. He's always been. He's in fucking Vietnam. He was a Marine.
Okay,
and
so
he just
yeah,
has this
he's
mantle of
something,
like he's always like, fuck you, fuck this, fuck.
And he was in. I mean, he was
fucking
in
attitude, and he
was in the country. He was in. He wasn't a reservist or. Dad gets pissed off whenever there are people that say, "Oh yeah, I was in the military during Vietnam," and then he learns like, "Oh, they serve stateside or they do whatever." He was in country. He was doing his shit. Sometimes
he was in the shit, as they say, in the shit.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times where he's been
It's awful.
drunk.
It's an awful situation to make that humans can make other humans do the atrocities.
There's been a couple of times where
be in a position where they have to.
Yeah.
Where it's their life or the other person's.
I'll never forget. my mom and my dad were out in front of our house watching. Have you ever seen the movie Forrest Gump?
Of course, yeah. I've seen it a bunch of times. Great movie.
It's
We're
so
out there,
good. Yeah.
we're out there watching Forrest Gump.
I've
And
cried. I've cried to that movie.
oh
And
yeah, I did too.
I'm a tough guy as well, but I've cried to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it gets you. It gets you.
Oh,
it
Because
definitely
you're laughing, then all of a sudden you're like,
You're crying.
oh,
You're
that's
crying.
such a human moment. Like, fuck.
when
Fuck
he's
you, Forrest
at
Gump.
the end when he's talking to the tomb to the grave, he's like, I think that maybe it's both are happening at the same time. You know, the dot 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 and the fate thing. And our son gave me this letter. He said I couldn't read it though, and he just puts it there for it. That gets me every time. But we were watching that movie, me, my mom, and my dad, and there's that one scene wherever. Remember, he's talking about the rain, how it's always raining in Vietnam, and he's like, sometimes it would rain straight up, you know, and then one day the rain just stopped, and then the rain stops, and then all of a sudden there's a firefight that breaks out, and like they're taking cover on the side of the road, and then there's a missile comes and blows up like two guys right next to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My dad just stands up, walks out of the room, locks himself in the bathroom. Nobody could get out of the bathroom for like 3 hours.
Oh wow.
Wow.
He locked himself in the bathroom, and mom is like, "Mike, I just want to make sure you're okay." Wouldn't speak, wouldn't say a word. He was just in the bathroom for like three fucking hours. It was like for 3 fucking hours. It was, and I was just like, "Holy shit, what's going on?"
Took him back. Took him fucking right back.
Yeah,
Right.
and he had a flash of him later. He talked to us. And he was like, "Yeah, there was a time. There was a day when we were in, and it was eerily familiar where it had been raining. It seemed like weeks to him, and it stopped raining. And like later that day, him and the group got ambushed, and they were taking cover, and a couple guys got hit next, not just down the line from him. And he said, I couldn't, I felt like I was going back, and I had to get out." And
Yeah.
so he did that. Then he became a firefighter, and
I always had a huge respect for people in the military, not just I mean, not the military, but people who have been at war. Because it's one thing, being part of the military. It's like being part of the police. But if you've been to war, you've seen the worst that humanity has to offer.
oh yeah,
You've
mean-
been like in the deepest part of humanity. You've seen the worst, and if you can come out of that and
Yeah.
raise a child or know happiness again, then you are just a special kind of person.
yeah.
There's a lot of talk about well, even in like kind of like spiritual and psychological, like scientifically psychological, they're acknowledging that there is a collective consciousness.
Oh sure.
And the reason it happens is because because of our shared humanity and our feelings. The same fucking thing that makes us cry in the movies makes us relate to other times. And like, it's why, for instance, like, the atrocities that happened to black people in America as slaves. And it's not all black people around like that. The ones in Africa, they're totally fucking different. Like my fiance is like, so no fucking, like you brought BB, you were saying like, just like, she has no cultural reference here, what I mean? And there's not but when you're told at 5, as you were, you have a 75 chance of not making it off this surgery, and it's an elective surgery. But if you don't, you're probably not going to make it long. Like that, how quickly do you fucking grow up then? What happens chemically to your brain? I mean, apparently it makes you smarter because your intelligence quotient was like like way fucking higher than anybody else at your age group in that range. You know what I mean? And like, so there's that, but there's also, I just wanted to say, I know you want to say something, so I'm gonna let you talk, but the collective consciousness from like an African American perspective, and Prince used to speak on this, is like his perspective was, should, you know, and he addresses it in one of his songs, like, should we be told in school that one race rules over another? Pretty much better off left a fool, you know, because when you know that, when you're told that and you're that color of skin, you instantly at that point lose your childhood innocence of believing that we're like, you see humans and you think, oh, everybody's different colors. And you're like, oh, not everybody's different. And then the whites dominated, and the whole fucking thing changed. And when you're that person that race was dominant, it's like, it just fucking, it's psychological scarring, and there's PTSD from that moment on, whether you're 5, 6, 10, 11, 12. And there's a good argument for that. But like the collective consciousness is a tough one. And I digress, because we were talking about this war, but man, that's a powerful story that you told, BB. And like,
No.
yeah, like I wanted to say, like, one of the things, like Krampus, like, I always felt like kind of at odds with his dad for many reasons, but one of which is a precept that I still hold, which is something opposite of what you just said, is that you always had respect for these people. And to me, I always felt like too much credit, like in our country, like if you're military, like, oh, you're military here, you know, we got this and that, and like, thank you so much for your service and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, to me though, the way that my scientific analysis has been of America, and my criticism of it and every country, is that there's an indoctrination that happens into the military. People don't want to go into it. They see it as a means of, they see it as a job. They see it as like, I don't really know how to do this other shit, and this is like a paycheck. And they sign up for it, and they think it's going to be like, you know, 4 years. But then a war happens, right? So it's like, are you a fucking hero, or did you just find yourself in a situation? You know, now what you went through, another reason I brought up collective consciousness is because Hitler and every other atrocity that happened in humanity is somewhere in all of us, right? Like, and I believe this. I believe that every human is capable of the most beautiful, angelic savior moment, but also the one that's on the other end, you know, that's deemed the devil, that like, you murder fucking, I'm gonna murder everything. Put me in a situation, you know, where it's war, and it's like your ego has to take over for self-preservation's sake. There's no, you know what I mean? So, but these are things that we conjure and we experiment. But I believe my religion that I evolved into is, if you want to call it religion, because it's just a theory or a mythos, but is that you know, just but scientifically, undisputably, we're all earthlings. I don't care what color you are, what language you speak. As I say, undisputably, you could say, oh, I'm less religious. Oh, I'm Muslim, I'm Catholic. I don't give a fuck. What we could talk about is that, were you born on earth? Will you most likely die on earth? Then we're earthlings. All right, let's start talking from the things we have in common. And that is universal, because so far we haven't had any verified conversations with aliens. So, you know, now that's a whole nother story. You know, could we be under a litmus test and be like, oh, we want to observe how the fuck did we evolve into a completely robotic species? Well, let's start it organically and watch it, you know, in this petri dish. And maybe every Earth is a petri dish, and there are aliens, like scientists, that are just watching, like, you know, over millions of years, and to us. But I mean, who knows, like with time or whatever, but like they're checking in, and it's just like, oh, that's the moment that AI gained consciousness, and that We look at these things and we analyze these possibilities through science fiction. Science fiction becomes reality. I mean, how long is it before we evolve into that? I don't know. But again, I digress. I want to bring it back to the point is that we do have a shared collective consciousness. It does permeate all of us on some level. And I do have like, man, that I would never want to be in a situation of those Vietnam soldiers. And I do give them respect, but at the same time, it's always like, it's become an industry. It's become a business in America. And it pains me because basically under World War II is when America really learned that war can be profitable. And that they by making weapons and selling it to both sides of other countries, that there can be profit here. But again, who does it profit? It profits Halliburton and the people that are on those boards. It doesn't profit all Americans. And even if it did, is it morally right to keep creating war because there's a monetary benefit? I mean, it goes back to Henry Ford. There's a lot of very, the Bush family made their billions and then gained power and perpetuated this. And these are facts. You know what I mean? So at what point do soldiers like, oh, you're such a hero? Like, bro, you were put in a situation because you couldn't put bread on your plate.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't have an education because college didn't exist back. Like college, if you were before 1970, you were rich to have a secondary education. They thought college would help indoctrinate more people into basically military and patriotism. And that's why all the government loans, like anybody that's going to college in America, half of it is through loans and or grants by the government. They kind of figured out a way to make that profitable too, the college business. But at the beginning, it was a socioeconomic experiment because only rich people could get educated, but they were all moneyed. So they were all, and then they were like, oh, well, let's train more people to have this level of education. And it actually backfired because most people ended up going to college were anti-war. And they were like, oh, they literally thought it would have been the opposite.
Yeah.
So that's the end of
That's
my
the thing, talking about, collective consciousness and the war. 1 year ago, when the war between Ukraine and Russia started, there was a big scare in Romania, us being bordered with Ukraine, especially, from my region, from where I'm from. Ukraine is 50 miles from my hometown, the border with Ukraine. So it was happening right next to us.
Less than an hour drive.
Less than an hour. You can literally get to Ukraine in like 40, 50 minutes maximum.
Wow.
And there was a big scare in Romania, even though we were a part of NATO, and, if Russia wanted to, go to war with us, they would go to war with all of NATO and, the US, all NATO. And, it wasn't a likely scenario, but it was still like, in the back of our minds, like, Putin is crazy. What if he wants to go to war with all of NATO and wants to, get into World War III or and I had a talk with my mom and my dad, because my mom was like, listen, if it gets to that scenario where, Russia starts going after the NATO countries, and, the first one is Romania and Poland, are the first ones. You need to get out of the country. We all need to get out of the country. And I had a conflict in myself, and I had one part of me, and I had a one angel on one shoulder and one angel on another shoulder. One part of me was saying, bro, you need to get out of the country. You need to think about,
self-preservation.
Self-preservation. I need to think about my family, my little brother, I wanted to get out of the country, my parents, my friends, all of them. But the other part of me was saying, bro, you're a coward if you run. You need to stay and fight. You need to stand up and fight. And I started thinking about my great-grandpa. My great-grandpa fought in World War II. He was a veteran, and he was alive when I was born. He died when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I think. He died when he was 92, 91 years old, I think, and he was
Man,
veteran
that's
in
fucking
World
it.
War II, which was the worst war, in the last
Oh
couple of
yeah.
years. And I was thinking about him, even though I don't remember him that well because I was just a kid. I was thinking like, bro, my great grandpa fought for this land, and I started thinking about our old rulers like Vlad the Impaler is one example. He defended our territory in our country, Romania, and then other rulers who are not as famous as Vlad the Impaler. Vlad the Impaler is a common
Yeah.
example because he's known worldwide, not just here.
Yeah, he used shock value
Yeah,
to
his shock
conquer the
value, but
enemy. The
more
death count was
important.
probably the same, but by displaying it in the manner that he did, there's a
Yeah,
lot of shock value, and also,
yeah.
there's that torture aspect. But
But
I actually kind of admire
Vlad
that
the Impaler for
strategy.
me and
Yeah,
for the Romanian people is a hero. For other people, he may be a villain or he may be a monster for what he did, but for
right.
us, he's a hero in our collective memory, in
I can
our
totally
history.
understand that.
And
Mhm.
I started, thinking about Vlad the Impaler and other rulers that have been, a part of the Romanian society and
Yeah,
the different countries that united
yeah.
and became Romania. And I started thinking, I was like,
Fuck.
if a war scenario breaks out, even if I mean, I wasn't thinking logically because a war scenario between Russia and the NATO is a very very unlikely scenario. But in that moment, I didn't think about. I just thought about what if, like, what if that small possibility, like 1% chance. What if Putin comes and decides to attack all of NATO? What if he decides to come and attack Romania? What do I do? I just flee and I run like a coward in my mind, or I stand up and fight and defend my country and defend my hometown and my people and all
Yeah,
the elderly people who cannot leave. And I started thinking about it, and at the last moment, my conclusion was, "Fuck it, I'm gonna stand up and fight. If the
yeah.
war comes, I am that type of guy who will stand up and fight. I mean, I
To the
am
death, if
I,
need
yeah,
be.
I am kind
Yeah,
of patriotic, even though right now it's like a big globalization, and it's not as patriotism isn't the way it's been like for the last couple hundred years. Because if you were a patriot back then, like a couple hundred years, you were wary of guys that weren't from your country, like yo, bro, you're a Hungarian or from Poland. I don't know about you. Now I just see people. I see interactions between people like me, between you guys being from a different country. But if someone comes and attack, this part of land, which I call
yeah,
home, which is my
yeah,
country, I am that type of guy, and I have that
yeah.
type of personality and character that I will stand and fight. No, even though I don't have like this, I am not obliged to. I mean, I'm not, I don't have like a certain need to defend it, but in my mind I have to defend it. It's like
I
I
know
don't know
totally
why.
what
I
you
don't know
mean,
why.
man.
I don't know why I think
But that
that
was
way.
the difference between like, and another reason I feel like the way about Vietnam is like I felt like we were more on the offensive than on the defensive.
It was the offense.
We've
That's
never
a different scenario.
really.
That's a different scenario.
The only
I
time we
wouldn't
were
go.
attacked
I
in our
wouldn't
own
go and
country
fight
was
in
by our
another
own
country.
people.
Personally, I wouldn't go and fight in another countries. For example, like Americans did in
Yeah. No,
Vietnam.
The Civil War was on our land.
Yeah, Civil War was a different scenario. Yeah, that's a scenario I would fight in.
And that was
If it happened,
yeah. I mean, I would absolutely. But that's the thing. It was like, man, I just felt like World War II was a legit, you
yeah.
know, issue, man. But like Vietnam was like, it just felt like it. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just felt like it was like we were
It
on the
was
offensive and
it was
just
the
kind of
same.
concocted.
Vietnam was the exact same thing as Korea. I mean, you've got an Asian country that is split
I'm
into
gonna be right back.
basically,
I'm just gonna go to the bathroom.
sure, split into between north and south. And in the northern part of the country, you've got communists, right? You've got people that were influenced by Russia, people that were influenced by China, and in the southern part of the country, you've got people who are more liberal, more democratic. People are being influenced by your Australias, your India, your Indonesia, the ones that are not communistic by nature. And then you've got the folks looking to expand.
But I have to interrupt you because I don't have a pen to write this down. But I want to ask you to elaborate on what communism is, because to me, what you're saying is communism, democracy, or capitalism, right? Is like one's a free market enterprise, but like communism evolved out of like everybody being poor, and again, like them saying, "Oh, we figured out a way to manufacture fiat currency through militarization."
I don't think that,
Communisms are largely militarized countries. That's the way I'm perceiving. Maybe I'm wrong.
no. I mean,
Is that
first of
part
all,
of the difference?
Oh, we're talking
that's
about
part of the
communism.
difference.
Communism, and he was explaining. Go ahead,
Vietnam.
recap, BB.
I was just saying that that Vietnam was very similar to Korea in terms of the war and why America at least projected they got involved, because you have two Asian countries, the northern part of it being influenced by China or Russia, and believing in a communist kind of uh, uh, political agenda or leadership structure, and the southern part of the country is being more influenced by your Indias or your Australias or the ones that are not communistic by nature, and that the communist folks in the northern are looking to unify the country. I mean, North and South Korea was Korea at one point
Yeah.
until we drew the demilitarized zone that separated the two. So again, it's not much different than a civil war where two parts of the country were going to war.
It
One
was
of them, one of them was pushing for communism. The other one was like, I don't think that I like this. And this was in the Cold War period after World War II, when after the World War II stopped, there was one moment when who was it? General MacArthur,
Mm-hmm.
or
McCarthy.
Patton? No, it was Patton. It was General Patton. Patton said at one point in World War II, after we had dropped the bomb and Japan was out, and then Hitler and the Nazis were defeated, Russia was decimated. Because Russia had gone. The basic Russian strategic is the meat grinder strategy. They will feed soldiers into a war because they're such a large country that they're going to assume we have more soldiers than you do.
We'll fatigue you. We will fatigue you out. We'll lose the numbers.
You may kill thousands of our soldiers, but we've got more, and we're going to keep coming, and you're going to succumb to.
You're going to run out of energy. You're going to run out of ammunition. You're going to run out of food, and we're going to.
And right at the end of World War II, Japan was radioactive. China was done. Russia was, like I said, was virtually decimated in terms of population. Europe was in ruins. Europe was just bombed to fuck, and America was still America. And at that moment, Patton said, "We should keep going." Like, Patton was the one, and they don't highlight this part of his character, but Patton believed we should not stop here. This is our. If we believe in America and
American ideology,
right? Then this is our opportunity.
Saving grace of the earth.
Yeah, this is our opportunity to make Europe. We could roll through Russia at this point,
and also to prevent. It's a king move. It's a king. It's a king move where you think I'm the right. We have the right way, and also this is going to happen again if we let the kid. You can't kill the father and not kill the children, essentially, right? Because the son's going to grow up and want revenge. So it's like this is our moment I don't know why I just said that, but the point is that like that's what you're saying is he was like this is our chess move moment to fucking call checkmate on the earth and then like really
that's how Pat
Are
viewed it. Yeah.
are you familiar with Winston Churchill's Operation Unthinkable?
No.
So Winston Churchill, after the World War II had ended, he had an operation which was called Operation Unthinkable. He wanted to invade Russia and give all of the all of the communist states like Romania, half of Poland, Belarus. He wanted to give them back their countries and basically invade Russia and
Right.
defeat the communism in Russia and instate a new power in Russia. He didn't. He didn't do that. That's why it was called Operation Unthinkable, because no one in their right mind would do such a thing, and he had little chance of victory.
But he still wanted to outlie it as a possible.
Exactly.
option.
He wanted to do it, but he was.
It's basically just saying this is Operation Last Option, basically. Like most people won't go for it, but it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, he wanted to do it, but no one was ready for another war, because World War II had just ended. Everyone was eager for peace, and no one wanted no one gave a fuck about the communist states. Just fuck them. World War II has ended. It's relative peace right now, and no one wants to go in another war against Russia or whatever. Wanted to go to Russia. No one wanted it, and that's why it was called Operation Unthinkable. But if it did that, if people wanted it to, especially the English people and the other half of Europe wanted to go to invade Russia, it would have been a great time to do it because Russia was in shambles. Because Hitler, I don't know if you know, but Hitler's campaign into Russia was really successful.
Oh yeah.
His only downfall was the winter. He didn't anticipate the winter being so harsh.
He pushed too far. He pushed too far. Too far too fast is what it was.
Yeah, his mistake was he kept pushing.
Yeah, he pushed too far.
He should have known when to retreat. But being such an egotistical guy and being such a he was a great general, despite the atrocities he has done. He was a great general, but that was his mistake because he didn't retreat. If he had retreated, the history I think would have been a lot different.
Yeah, I mean, he was clearly.
It would have been a different world right now if Hitler.
So many different nows we could be living right now.
Yeah, but I think the point that I was going to make was that. I think that what you had said, ad hoc, war is the same as anything else. It's going to everybody's at the military. Everybody's viewing it. It affects everybody differently, and it's going to make somebody else. It's going to make each individual something else. The war. You can go into the war because I hate them Muslims. I want to go kill them. And then you go there and you come out fucking wrecked with PTSD and you can't exist. And then you got other people that find an actual career and stay in there and start learning shit and do improve themselves with some sort of, militaristic, rigidness of life and make themselves a better person. So I think it affects everybody differently. And I think I know that what from what Cramp was saying, that maybe it's. I think that the American military history is significantly different than almost every other military on Earth.
Yeah.
Because after the Revolutionary War, before we were a country, you essentially had a situation where the people living in this country were fighting against England, and England was sending their ships over to go. Hey, no, that's our territory, that's our country, and then we fought them in the here in America. That war happened. Nobody got.
I'm guessing you guys are aware of this, but most of the other parts of the world outside the U.S. views the U.S. as having a god complex and as world police.
We do. We
They
do have
have
a God complex. There's no
Yeah,
question about
they
it.
had different conflicts in which they had no, legal authority, or they had no business coming into, and they acted as a world police, especially in Iraq. I don't know if you've seen pictures of how Iraq was before the war.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like Iraq was like a beautiful country. You had, a sea. You had people, women, especially women. Women were dressing, like an open state. They were dressing how they would want to. And then after the war, and after, the Muslims came, the extremists, women had to start wearing the hijabs
Oh yeah.
on their head, and they had to cover all of their bodies. But before the war, like in the 60s or 70s, it was like a democratic country. They were
Yeah.
all free, and then the war just ruined them. And the U.S. had many wars in which they had no business interfering, but they
Yeah. Well, I mean,
interfered.
that's what I was going to say. Was after you got the Revolutionary War, which was fought almost entirely on our soil, because we never went over to Europe and fought them. We fought here because that's what we
Yeah,
were fighting for. So you
Yeah,
got
good
that.
point. Yeah.
Then you got the Mexican American War, again fought pretty much entirely on our because you remember Mexico originally was a good part of Texas, almost all of New
Mm,
Mexico, Arizona, and
you're right.
California.
I forgot about those wars. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, but
Now
yeah, remember the
those are
Alamo?
all yeah, right, exactly. Those are all 150 years ago when there was a missile. What? Do you mean an arrow? Are you talking about an arrow? There were no missiles. There were certainly no intercontinental missiles. You weren't shooting something that went across the sea. I mean, there was no such thing as that. So for the first part of the country, I think you had a different military experience where I think it was more like most other countries. Most people that joined the military back in the 1700s, 1800s, even early 1900s did it because they honestly believed I need to defend my country.
yeah,
I need to defend my country from whatever this is. I need to defend my country.
Mm.
And then World War II, again, it wasn't like a bunch of battles took place, but at that point, America, 1940, the whole world's at war. Everyone's at war, and America said, "We're out. We're not getting involved. We're not getting involved." 1941, we're like, "Fuck it. We're not getting involved. You guys have been at war for over a year, and we are not getting involved." And then they bombed Pearl Harbor, and and the one Japanese general, I don't remember his name now, but he
Hidemoshi.
yeah, sure, that's good. I mean, he tried, he spoke out so loud in his country. He said, "This is a mistake. We, bombing Pearl Harbor
Sleeping
is
Giant.
that was the sleeping giant line, right?" He said, "Yeah, we're waking a sleeping giant, and we will pay for this." And so that happened. So that gave us a reason. I was like, "Fuck, all right, we didn't do shit. We weren't bombing
Yeah.
anybody."
Now we're on the defensive,
Right now
and
we're
that's
now
always the best time to
that
fight.
that was
right.
a big mistake from the part of Japan, because
It's
I mean,
possibly it's
I
possibly the
think
biggest military mistake
yeah,
of
I
any
think
country in any war
most of the world respects Japan as a people and as a country.
Oh
Me
yeah,
personally, I mean, I've been seeing a lot of football games, and as in the World Cup, uh, the Japanese fans are known for when the match ends, they all, just like all the Japanese fans, start gathering their garbage by themselves, and then they carry it out of the stadium
yeah,
as the people, the whole Japanese. So they are known for being very respectful and having like integrity type of people.
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know the intricacies of Japanese
Yeah,
history enough
I
to
always
know.
respected Japanese people, and I've
Me
learned
too,
about
man. Me
a lot
too.
about
Me
the
too,
culture.
Grant.
Yeah, yeah. Ever since World War, I mean, at the end of World War II, they changed the core of their military to. They have no. I don't know if they still don't, but for the majority of our lives, their military was 100% defensive.
Yeah,
They never conducted any kind of military operations of any kind in any country anywhere after World War II. They were like, oh, here's all we're doing. We are only here to defend Japan.
Yeah.
That's it. We're not,
as it should be.
we're not attacking
Yeah,
anybody.
we
We're not
have our
doing
own
anything.
cultural identity.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And I don't.
But I am curious to find out more of the history as to because even back in the day, the concept of just of honor and the samurai and the kind of belief system that they had set up.
Yeah,
What was it in between that and then World War One into World War II that changed? Like what happened? Was there a shift in who the emperor was? I mean, because it doesn't seem like that there would have been a natural. Hey, that country that's not attacking anybody, let's go hit them. Like it just seems like a weird
yeah. It's a weird
situation.
part of it's uncharacteristical for them. It's like it wasn't uh, how people thought the Japanese would have acted. Because even today, I've seen I've never been to Japan. I want to visit, and
Yeah.
will visit Japan because it's a cool country, and I wanna interact with people there. But even now, still today, there's still a large part of the culture is influenced by the samurai and the sense of honor and integrity. Even now, couple of 100 years later since the last samurai died, or
Yeah.
part of the history where samurai lived. And Japan has always been like this culture reference. When you wanted to, give a good example about people and honor and integrity, you always gave the example of the samurai, because they was like it's a very good example. Even in the bad parts, like the yakuza, the
Yeah.
yakuza, and the yakuza are viewed as mafia, like a type of mafia, but they're not really mafia, because yakuza is a bunch of families. It's a wide term for a bunch of families, and yakuza, many politicians still are part of yakuza. Yakuza is mainly like a part of a belief system, and I've seen a lot of documentaries about the yakuza way of life and the yakuza of Japan. When you did something wrong, when you dishonored your boss or your master or whatever, you had to cut one of your fingers, mainly the pinky finger,
Yeah.
to give like a sign of respect and a sign of I'm sorry, kind of, back to the boss. And many people still, from the yakuza clan, have fingers cut off. You did like you got a cloth and put it on over your finger. You got a knife and then you cut off your finger, and you give the finger wrapped up to your boss, to the
Yeah,
clan.
there's a movie called Black Rain, starring Michael Douglas from early '90s, early mid '90s, late '80s. I don't remember, called Black Rain, and it goes pretty in depth into what you were just talking about
The
the
yakuza.
yakuza. And there's a
There's a
scene.
there's a movie with Jared Leto. There's a recent movie, a couple of years ago, I think it was released, with Jared Leto. He portrays an American that gets into yakuza, and
Jared Leto, he's a cool actor, man.
yeah, he's a cool actor, and he becomes a member of the yakuza. Really, I can't remember the
I liked
name.
his Joker.
Yeah,
I did not
don't
like
like
his
his Joker.
I didn't like his
don't like
Joker
it.
either.
Jared Leto is a really cool actor, but the one character I disliked him portraying was the Joker.
Oh, was the Joker? Yeah, I know. BB hated that too.
Yeah, I don't like
I hate. I hate. I
I
hate
just
him.
want. We just
I
watched.
don't. I don't think he portrayed a good Joker. I don't. I
we
don't.
we just watched Morbius last night.
Yeah, Mobius. Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
watch it too. I've heard a lot of mixed feelings
Yeah,
about it.
here's the thing. I went in for what I had seen in previews and whatnot, thinking this is going to be the worst movie of all time.
Yeah.
But it's a Marvel character, and I need to see it just to see what happens. And there's a fair bit of disjointed shit. The post-credit scene, I don't even know why they did it and what they were going for. But I really thought, as did Dave, and so did Adrian, so did K-Rock, I thought this is going to be the worst movie ever. We have to band together to watch it to get through it. And in actuality, it wasn't that terrible. It was pretty decent. It was. I kind of liked some of Jared Leto's representations in the movie. I kind of liked it, and so it's not a waste of time to watch. It's not as bad as whatever that fucking Amazing Spider-Man with Paul Giamatti playing the fucking Rhino.
Oh, this is the movie, The Outsider.
The Outsider, okay.
Yeah, with Jared Leto. This in this movie, he's a great actor. He portrays like a great character. He's a good actor. I mean, he's a good actor overall, but
Yeah.
he's
He's a
fine.
good. He's a crazy. He's one of the crazy ones. He's like
Yeah,
Christian Bale. He's like Christian Bale.
yeah, he's the
Yeah.
cool. He's in that part of acting, like in
Method.
my mind, he's in the same part of acting as Johnny Depp, because
Yeah.
he's like the same type of guy. Like he portrays different characters, and he's kind of like not crazy, but different than other actors. He doesn't portray like normal characters.
He's pretty crazy. I mean, because
Yeah,
he's definitely a method. He's the same as Christian Bale in the sense that he's a
Christian Bale is
method actor.
another one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a method actor. Yeah,
the same category of actors like Christian Bale, Johnny Depp,
Yeah.
who can easily and are very good at portraying actors that are crazy. Especially,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they
Johnny-
really
Johnny-
crazy, but they become the other character.
yeah,
Brings us around full
Johnny
circle
Depp
to
and-
to
Johnny Depp
our
and-
role playing days. And like role playing is not only the roll of the dice, right? But where you get your character stats, but it's like these are your character stats, play it. Same way you're born into life, it's like
Yeah,
you don't get to choose the hands that dealt to you. Play it. Sometimes
Yeah,
you got
yeah.
bluff, you know what I mean?
Christian
But
Bale
so
and
we
Johnny
become
Depp.
the role, but you have to get in the character, and you become the role of that character. And knowing this and knowing this guy down here, and exploring those realms open. That's why I like TK's as creative as he is. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I am who I am. It's like it is all this. And again, I want to bring it full circle to the question of how old are you?
Right.
Because damn, I thought I knew I thought I knew everything when I was, like I always thought I was like very like smarter than people way older than me, and that was maybe a fatal flaw. But whatever.
Well,
The
clearly,
point
that's
is
clearly
that,
not a fatal
I had
flaw.
experience. I knew this dude down here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I knew this dude. I face shit, you know what I mean? And you go through things, but there's a collective consciousness. We can have discussions. Have you experienced, and like you said, Krampus, have you experienced death? Like on what level? How does it affect you? There's so many factors that make a human, that make us both relatable, but at the same time, so easily dismissible by going, oh, you're a different age than me and I can't relate to you, I think is a fatal. It's a fallacy. And you're closing yourself off to a learning experience. But the learning experience sometimes happens the other way. Acknowledgeable, like, right? Because this guy is a studied guy. He's a lifelong learner. What do we all have in common? We're open to learning.
That's the thing.
That's the fucking big differentiating factor.
I feel
rather than asking the age, it's like you almost need to ask that question first. It's like
I feel
open.
I feel like all three of us, all of my closest friends, T, K, Dave, Adrian, all of us, all the people that I feel are closest to me are open and willing to at least listen openly
Yeah.
to someone who disagrees with them.
And
You know-
put our hands up when we're fucking wrong.
Oh yeah,
And go, wow, actually listened to what you said,
yeah,
and I'm changing my perspective.
yeah,
Instead
exactly.
of just, and
That's
most people don't
a
do that. Most people
that's a
go,
hard thing to do.
Oh my God, that's so hard for.
That's very hard to listen to someone that doesn't share your belief, and even though in your mind you think, wow, they are so wrong, but to listen to him
Yep.
in an open kind of way and to listen, whoa, just let me just take a step back and let me listen to this guy and let me try to understand what he's saying and what his perspective is,
Yep.
and let me see if I can relate to that and maybe change my perspective and maybe he convinces me
Yeah.
that that's the right way
and
and
at
I'm wrong.
least be open to the option of listening instead
Yeah.
of just thinking. Because most people, they're only thinking of, while you're talking, they're only thinking of the next thing they're going to say, right?
Yeah,
They're not really
yeah,
Exactly.
they're just thinking about how to defend their point of view.
defense.
Yeah, whether or
Which
not.
is come from finger pointing. And
Yeah.
that's extension of that. It's like they're not listening to you. Go ahead, BB.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's it's if you've come across someone who is, there was. That's why I I don't think we've ever. He's never been on one of these broadcasts, and unless we ever given him a name, but you know who I'm talking about, ad hoc. Big Scott, the
Yeah.
musician. Yeah. Um, I've really come to enjoy talking with him because he does not have a lot of the same beliefs that I do when it comes to things like politics and whatnot.
No.
But we had a really.
You think he
really-
would, but he doesn't.
He doesn't. He does not. But we had a conversation years ago, back before I moved out to Pittsburgh. Actually, I think it was during or leading up to the Trump election back in 2016, and we were out in my yard, and we were drinking, and we'd been drinking.
Conversing, having good
Conversing.
times.
He had brought over some special brownies and such, and so we were ingesting those, and we just got on this far ranging, him, me, Damron, and K Rock, and we got in this big conversation. He was trying to explain his view on guns, and that he is completely opposed to any kind of gun control, any kind of weapon control. That he absolutely believes that every individual should be allowed to own whatever weapon they want. It's not the government's place to stop them from owning any kind of weapon. I was like, so you're saying you're including things like rocket launchers and bazookas. You're not just saying guns. You're saying any kind of weapon. I'm like, yeah, that's what I believe. I honestly believe that. And we went and we talked for probably 2 or 3 hours. We got around to people parenting, having kids, driving cars, voting, all this stuff. And I worked it into a situation where I said, because here's the fact. I mean, I kind of believe there's a flaw in our system that anybody can go out and vote. Like, there are people out there who they're not putting any thought at all into their vote. They're just voting by what their friends think or what they think their
Yeah.
friends want them to vote. And I almost kind of think that's a flaw. And Scott said, "Yeah, man, I agree with you. Like, I definitely think there should be some sort of
I
regulatory
agree with that as well.
Yeah. on who can vote." And I
Yeah.
said, and then I said, from 3 hours previously, I said, "Yeah, you want that, but you're okay with somebody owning a bazooka. You have no problem with anybody."
Yeah,
owning a
there's
bazooka."
there's different sides to it.
And he
And,
stopped. He stopped. And he said, "Touche, touche. You are.
yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good point.
It's a
You're
good-
right. Maybe there should be
it's a
some
good point.
regulations."
I've always
on
wondered
weapons.
about this topic is like, do all people have to
Good job
vote?
on that, BB.
It was very interesting, and the fact that he listened and engaged in the conversation, stood by his beliefs, expressed them intelligently,
Yeah.
but then got to a
He's a
point.
very confident individual
Yeah, but then he got to a point where in the conversation we were
and
having,
intelligent.
yeah, he got to the point where in the conversation we were having, he thought about what we had just talked about, and it was like, oh shit, at that, okay, okay, you got me on that.
You
One.
got to
You're
give
right.
him credit. And
Yeah.
Krampus, little backstory on this guy. He was actually my roommate.
Right?
for
Yeah, he
over
was.
a
That's right.
year.
Yeah, that's
Really?
right.
Yes, because he's an excellent bass player. Like he's played semi-professionally with like touring bands and stuff. Like he's really good on, not only good on bass, but he's like a theater kid. And you know how theater kids are always like a little different. He comes from that ilk, but what I appreciate about theater people is they're very attention to detail oriented. And this is the way he approaches music, and he honors it like a fucking Yakuza
Right.
honors fucking their shit. Like he really respects it as more than an art form, as a language, as a universal language. And he's so well studied. I mean, he'll talk to you about circle fifths and modes and modalities and sevenths and ninths and all kind of iterations of different chords and chord progressions, even though a bass player doesn't need to know all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's more a guitar player thing, but he knows this. Like that's a level he knows his shit. Well, you know, he's just a thinking guy. He's a thinker. But the difference is, like, I guess, I mean, not a difference. Maybe it's common amongst thinkers. Like if you're someone who thinks, maybe you have the propensity or the capacity or the possibility of overthinking, right? That's always a danger because that's not necessarily a great thing. You want to, but I think I consider myself like I like to analyze a lot of options, like a lot of different ways. But I also like to consider a lot of different positions, and I like to consider a lot of different viewpoints, and that's what makes me open. You know,
It's a very hard thing to do. So I will tell you, especially for me, being a young guy, I just like a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I started really enjoying and learning about politics because I realized that it's an essential thing to learn about, being a part of our society. And I honestly believe that all people should learn about politics and see where they at, left wing, right wing. And I started doing a lot of these. There are tests on the internet to seeing if you're left wing or right wing. And I started doing these tests to see honestly, I mean, on which side I would fall on. And every single test, and I'm being completely honest. Every single test I did, I came right dead center.
wow, nice,
Dead center, because I have views from both sides. I can understand.
Yes.
I can understand
I
side
think that's a good
from the
thing,
left.
bro.
Yeah, I can understand side from the left. I can understand
Yes.
side from the right. I'm a big fan of. I don't know if you guys know.
Extremists are always these are the
Oh,
motherfuckers
yeah.
that fucking shit up.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if you got. I mean, I think you know about Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Jordan Peterson.
No.
Yeah, I'm
Not
a
Jordan
big fan
Peele.
of his. I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson. I think he's a very intelligent guy, and he's very adept at expressing his view. And he's not at all offensive when he's discussing his views with people who have different views. I'm guessing he's kind of a centrist, like a dead center as me, or maybe a little bit inclined to the right wing. I don't know, but anyway, he's a psychologist. He has a degree in psychology. He has teach at Harvard, I think. Harvard. He teach in Canada and a couple of universities.
He's not a fucking slouch, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's a very intelligent guy, and there are a lot of people who hold it against his views because he has views like he talked about, transgender people, and he wasn't like the type of guy like, yo, if you're a transgender, you're stupid or you're mentally ill or something. He went at it and he approached the situation very intelligently and very polite. He was like, I don't, if you're a transgender, you have every right as a simple guy, as a normal guy, normal,
Person.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not. If you're transgender, it doesn't mean that you need to be treated differently, but that doesn't mean that I agree with you. He was like, you may think you're a woman. For me, you are a man, but that doesn't mean I will treat you differently because you think you're a woman, even though you were born as a man.
Right.
And I really like that way of thinking, because even though if I don't agree with you, that doesn't mean that I wish
Ill
I have
will.
ill intent over you.
Or
You
need,
know
or that you need to turn it into a conflict.
exactly. And I'm the type of guy. Even though you don't share my beliefs, that doesn't mean I don't like you. I have a lot of friends that don't share my beliefs, and especially like with I'm
Marriage?
not. What?
With marriage?
Now with marriage, I don't like the pronoun thing. It's not
Uh,
big in Romania. In Romania we don't have it, but I've seen it in the US. Like
yeah,
people
yeah.
addressing other people by different pronouns. For me, personally, it's a hard thing to understand, like why you would identify as a different pronoun if you're a guy or a girl. It's a simple for me, like from my perspective, from my way of thinking, you can be homosexual, bisexual, and that's about and straight. So three ways: you're either bisexual, you're either straight, or gay. And I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I think it's normal. It's a normal way. If you were born gay, or you at one point of time you realized you were homosexual, good, bro. I have friends who are. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah.
You do you. What you do in your spare time is not a problem for me.
Right. I don't. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
What
I
you do
don't
in your
understand.
bedroom is not
Yeah,
important to this
exactly.
conversation we're having publicly. I
I
don't need to
don't
know about it, right?
understand. But I have a problem with people. For example, I have a problem with people that I always said that I have a friend who is homosexual, and I never had a moment in time where I was speaking to him or talking to him where I think, whoa, this guy is homosexual. Never. He's just like a normal dude. But my problem, I mean, the way I think about it is when that trait, I mean, you being homosexual, when that thing uh, starts being the whole personality, that's a problem because your whole personality is centered about you being homosexual. Why? It's a normal thing for me because I've seen a lot of guys and
Ah,
girls,
it'd be like BB making his whole conversation about the fact that he's what you call it,
he's
BB?
yeah, he's
Well,
disabled.
sir, yeah.
Exactly. It's like it's a great example. So like
Or awesome. I'm not sure which one you're going with.
I was
it's
going
like
for the. I can't remember. It's
BB trying.
disabled is not the. It's like non-able bodied. The point
No,
is that
that's all stupid shit anyway.
it's not the
Yeah,
fucking
okay,
focus of being a human, right? Like there's
exactly.
other aspects to him.
Yeah.
To the
So
fact that we forget that he's even. That's like, oh, we totally forgot that you were in a wheelchair, bro.
Yeah, I
yeah,
think that's part of the thing you're saying, Krampus, too, is that whole topic, the whole transgender topic. It's one that I think everybody is figuring out right now. Like, I don't think anybody has it down. Yeah, and I'm including everybody, even if you're transgendered. I don't think you have it down yet. I don't think any of us have it down yet. There's definitely a because it's. I think it makes sense for there to be a difficulty for people who are not transgendered to wrap their head around it. It makes sense that it's difficult because you're born a specific way, right?
Apparent to the eyes.
Yeah, apparent to the eyes, but even biologically speaking, Yeah,
which is the brand
biological.
for the eyes.
Yeah, but even if you couldn't, yeah, what if you can't, if you're born with male organs,
Yeah.
but you feel that you're female, you can't have a baby.
Yeah,
You can't get pregnant.
it's biologically
You
impossible. Yeah,
right. If you believe that you're actually a woman, you cannot physically carry a baby for 9 months in your body. You don't have the body for it.
But I love the idea that scientifically the organs could develop as such. However, the brain is a left hemisphere, right hemisphere, where it is agreed upon scientifically that left-handed individuals are more creative, and thus the right hemisphere of the brain controls the left side of the body. The right hemisphere of the brain is considered feminine side of the brain.
yeah,
The left hemisphere of the brain, which controls the right hand, is considered the masculine side of our brain, which analyzes things differently, much more linearly, much more mathematically, much more the most direct route from point A to point B is a straight line. Where our left side of the brain is, yeah, I acknowledge that, but wouldn't it be more interesting to explore and go the curved route? Women are curvy. We see it reflected in their physiology. But could it be that the penis happened? So down here, that happened, but up here, it was flipped.
yeah.
And scientifically, it's like, yeah, sure, that could fucking be a possibility.
What Jordan Peterson is saying, and I agree 100%, is especially for me, the biggest thing for me is with the pronouns that I've seen. It's not in Europe. It's not as big a thing as in the US, but I've seen it like in the US. It's a big thing, like addressing people by different pronouns, like a dude or a girl. Wants to be addressed as they or them.
Yeah, I
For
don't really
me-
honestly even understand that. Can you?
Yeah, for me,
anybody
for
got a handle?
example,
If you're a single person, why would you be a they?
exactly,
What
yeah.
does that even
And
mean?
for me, for example, if I went to the US and I encountered such a person that wanted me to address them by they or their, I would say bro, or girl, whatever they are. I
However
would,
they identify, yeah.
yeah, exactly. I would say, good for you. I hold nothing against you. If you wanna, be addressed as they or them, go ahead. But for me, it's hard to address you as that, because if I see a guy, I say hey bro, and if I see a girl, I say hey sister. That's the way I think. I cannot address you by a plural. I cannot address you as
Yeah,
being
there should be no plurals. At what point is like, do we lose all language? Do we lose? Arguably, humans categorize everything, and maybe language becomes debilitating in some sense. I mean, that could be some type of philosophical argument. However, it is until we develop telepathy. We need to rely on words and singular versus plural I don't understand how that comes into play into. I can understand the female to the masculine again, because I take it back to science prior to my previous explanation, where it's like, that could develop differently, in which the mind is actually feminine, but the physical body developed masculine. There's a conflict. Sure, that could happen literally, physiologically, and therefore there would be a conflict, and I get it. And I will empathize with your situation, and I will respect you as a human to identify you however you want to be identified. But to identify you as a singular into a plural, literally makes no sense to me.
Even as a straight guy, I mean, you guys know this. There are straight guys who seem more feminine, and there are guys who seem more masculine.
Mm-hmm.
It's, the way you are. It's like it's not a problem for me, and it's not a problem if you identify as a female. I mean,
I knew a guy when I was younger. He was a friend of the family. I won't say his full name, but his first name was literally Dick. His name was Dick, and Dick.
He was cursed for life.
Yeah, he was. But Dick was the most effeminate man I've ever met in my entire life.
Such
I
an
mean,
the
he,
irony of your life.
yeah, I mean, he was limp wristed. It was, talked with a lisp. I was, when I first started learning about, oh, there's, okay, what is gay? What is gay? Okay. Oh, okay. And I never, even as a kid, I was never like, you know, ew. I was always like, oh, whatever, man, whatever you see that makes you think I'd love to fuck that. That's fine by me. And I was convinced Dick had to be, because he fit the Homer Simpson. You know, I yeah, I like my hamburgers. I like my hamburgers raw. I like my I like my sports brutal and my homosexuals flaming. And because he was flaming, and he was married, had 2 kids, and apparently,
Oh, I
uh,
remember that guy.
yeah, apparently had like an affair on his wife at some point with another woman. Like he was totally a guy, like a totally straight male, but I could not believe how feminine he was, and I kind of have to thank Dick to just go, "Great, if that guy was straight, then there's no way I could judge somebody just based on their appearance,
Yeah.
because that guy was
And vice versa. I've met homosexual who are manly as fuck.
oh
Like they
yeah,
really, like bros like I only
yeah,
eat meat and I do 100 push-ups every morning. Like that type of
Yeah, they
guy.
they'll kick your ass.
Yeah, and you wouldn't believe that they're homosexual. It's
yeah,
like
Yeah,
it's the irony and the beauty of life, because you can
dude.
be a straight guy
I
who is
swear to God,
very feminine, who looks like you have long hair, you don't have
man.
any beard, you look like a girl, but you can be like a homosexual that looks like fucking Jason Momoa, like having a big ass,
Yes,
and
yeah,
you're like look like a really tough guy, but
and I'm telling you,
you're homosexual.
my higher intellectual self acknowledges simulation theory and the
Yeah,
idea
bro.
that
Don't get me started on
no,
simulation.
we're all just avatars. Like every fucking option is being played out in some fashion. And logically, a computer would absolutely fucking do that. Look at fractals. Look at the way, look at fractal design, and then look at nature,
You
and
add
look
up.
at the golden ratio of mathematics, and it all ties back to science, and it makes sense that nature would explore every fucking option. And if we're conscious to talk about the differences and the similarities, this is what is embodied. Well, this is gonna be the result. You know what I mean? But like, there's never gonna be any really conclusion. It's always just gonna be observations and acceptance or not acceptance, and which would lead to some type of war scenario, or we can coexist peacefully but disagree in at our core.
I have a great example of this. Me being part of a motorcycle club, um, a couple of my members are older. I mean, they are 50, 51, 52, 49. And then meeting other motorcycle clubs from my country. A lot of the guys, that are older, they lived in the communist era when Romania was a part of, communism.
Wow.
And they are not deeply, but they are most of them are very homophobic. They don't
right,
understand being homosexual, and that I had multiple discussions with guys that are homophobic. They don't understand homosexuals and they don't agree with it. They think it's an illness or whatever. And I had conversations with them, but I knew them before I had the conversations, and I knew about them that they were great guys. They were family guys. They were kind persons. They were not aggressive. They were really peaceful, but they had this in their head that being homosexual is an illness,
Mhm.
and I disagreed with them. but that doesn't mean that I viewed them differently after the conversation. You know, I had a conversation one time with my vice president and a president of another motorcycle club. They are the same age. They are 52, I believe, 52. Yeah. uh, and I was talking. I don't know. We were drinking, and from one conversation to the another, we got on the subject of homosexuals, and they were against homosexuals. And I was trying to say to them, homosexuality is a natural thing. I'm a big science guy, and I've seen a lot of documentaries in which they discovered homosexuality in other species as well. Mainly, I saw the first species I saw that developed homosexual tendencies was penguins. I don't know if you guys know about this, but there are, penguins, penguin males that, became lovers with another penguin male. So
Also, dolphins, I think, which was
dolphins
actually
as well, yeah.
discussed on this program at some point in our
Yeah.
past.
Probably, yeah. But the first species I learned about that had homosexual tendencies were penguins, and I was starting to say to them, listen, as from a scientific point of view, there's nothing wrong with you if you're homosexual. They have homosexuality in other species like penguins or dolphins or whatever. And even though I told them these are the facts, this is a scientific, proven theory that being homosexual is not an illness or whatever. They didn't agree with me. It was like I was like, okay, you don't agree with me. These are the facts. I can understand where you come from because they grew up in a different environment. They grew up in communism. They grew up in a closed-minded, and you're not allowed to visit other countries. You're not allowed to learn about other things. You're just here. You learn about our way of thinking, and that's it.
Wow.
And I could understand. And I never thought of them as being stupid. I never thought of them as being, hateful towards
Right.
other people, but because I could understand, I can understand their point of view, and their way of thinking, because I put myself in their situation, being raised in a very close-minded society. It was,
Also, what happens is that even though they acknowledge science, they also acknowledge that their way, their perspective, they believe their perspective, and this is normal, because they feel like I've done enough analysis. What we consider and what we would like for our progeny to be as a human species requires the procreation of these type of individuals, and thus the elimination of these other type of
yeah,
individuals. And scientifically, that would not be wrong, right? Because scientifically, if you have these outlying factors that are neither plus or negative, like clear cut, either a 1 or a 0, then if it's an other, it should be eliminated. And then by mating the 1s and 0s, or more the people that have the same type of characteristics, you're going to increase your odds and your likelihood of continuing to have those characteristics, rather than interracial marriages and interracial, or which could be viewed physically, but also it's the same scientifically on paper, mathematically. If you take a white and a black person and have them have an offspring, you're not quite sure what the shade's going to be. If you take somebody that has one way of thinking that's very religious and another one that's very open-minded, well, what's their offspring? If they have the two parents that are, it's like you're not. That's their logic. Their logic is we have to eliminate all the possibilities of anything other than this so that we can come out to this conclusion. And I think mathematically, as a species, unconsciously, as earthlings, this is part of the program that we're running, that's being run through right, like in the now. You know what I mean? It's
one of the interesting things about the whole straight bi homosexual thing, which again, I'm sure people have studied this in depth, but when you look at the long history, you go back to the Greeks and the Romans.
Oh yeah.
Homosexual and bisexual was
Yeah.
commonplace.
Yeah.
Like it was
Socrates
rare.
and Plato and some
People
of these
people
the
have
greatest
yeah.
thinkers to date.
It was
people have
rare for
people have forgotten about the Spartan army. I mean, the Spartans, who are
Yeah.
the manliest of men.
Yeah.
The Spartans were homosexual.
Wow,
when
really?
when they would go, the Romans as well. Most of, I mean, not most of them, but
well, at the
a
very least bisexual.
yeah,
They
a
were
big part
they,
of them would have
yeah,
sex with soldiers with other soldiers, so men with other men.
Damn, bro.
And when
Damn.
you
Hold
do
up,
yeah.
hold up.
history,
There was a lot of
what are the
non.
manliest of men?
Yeah,
Spartan, Roman soldiers.
Hold on. I got it. There was something you said earlier, Krampus, and I just want to say this, and I swear I will stop talking. The question you raise to me is as a heterosexual who just happens to enjoy and be physically attractive naturally to the female, and again, naturally, what is naturally? It has to do with my upbringing and everything, and I will acknowledge that. I'll take that all into consideration, mathematically, scientifically, everything, because math and science are interrelated. And then we think it's our own idea, but it's our psychology being affected by other things that we're not aware of. But my problem with homosexuality in both the Greek and what you mentioned in a war scenario is that homosexuality can be it can be found through a way of dominance, and we see it in dogs, like where they will hump the other one in order to show dominance. Not that they're necessarily even sexually attracted to the other. It's a dominance display. So this is a problem, right? Because then all of a sudden the homosexuality, and we see it in jails as well.
Yeah,
It's like I'm going to make you a submissive to me. I don't necessarily find you attractive, except in the sense that I know I'm going to dominate you and make you submissive. But this is not the way I'd necessarily look at these bosoms right here. In my mind, I never look at her and I'm just thinking it's a thing of beauty that I want to couple with. I want to procreate with. And I think this is what my sense of when I look at her, why would I feel aroused as a heterosexual male, is because there's a bliss aspect of it rather than I'm going to dominate that thing. And, this is a fucked up thing. And I also think within homosexuals that there's other people that what we think of in America and why we accept is because it's not about dominance. It's about, they literally look at that instead. They're looking, but they think they're feeling like that, but they're looking at the other and saying, this is going to complete me. This is going to complete me as my other half, because there is a sexual union and the opposites. It's not about domination. And I think what you were speaking of there, it was more about subjugation of the other.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that though, because I mean, if you're the last thing, if you're in an army, if you're in a unit of warriors and you're out in the military and you're going to go to war with someone, Spartans, for example, and you're the Spartans, and this is my unit. I need that guy over here. I need to know with no question whatsoever that he's going to have my back in this war.
Yeah,
that's not subjugation. That's not. You're not going to. If you try to force yourself in that situation on someone that is very likely going to hold your life in their hands,
right?
Then you're not going to be the best partner on the planet. The Spartans are going to be what they were. Now, does it happen? Of course, it happens in situations where you have a Roman, authority that forces themselves onto a younger boy just because to show the subjugation.
But there might not be a forcefulness. It might be what you started the show with, which was there's a divinity in this. Open your mouth and let me in.
There might be, but that's going to be
that we're manipulating the psychology.
Yeah, but that was
dominance.
a straight.
But it's still a dominance play.
Yeah, but that was a straight scenario. That was a guy.
Right.
That was a guy.
And so is jail, and so is war sometimes.
Well, no,
right? Because
like
the jail. No, because how? Okay, let me ask you a question. Is it better to? Are you a better leader if people love you or if people fear you?
If they love you.
You lead by example.
If you believe it's through fear.
I understand what you're saying. But I don't.
That's a different type of leadership.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't see the connection inherently to homosexuality or straight.
Because sometimes people will do what they want to do. The people do things for you because they fear for their life. Because you put that in them and you subjugated them and you dominated them, even sexually in jail. And
you're my
bitch.
I just said what I say. Dude, that was the words that I'm using. I just said I agree with you on that, but I don't see the inherent connection to homosexuality. Does it happen in homosexual situations? Of course. Does it happen in heterosexual?
In this particular example, I agree with BB because especially for the I'm talking about the Spartans and the Romans. I agree with BB because if you went to war and you had basically a band of brothers, I don't think that domination was a part of that. I honestly think that as people we need sexual connection. It's like a normal part of us. It's a natural thing. And they had even if they were straight or whatever, they had no women around. So what are you going to do?
Now,
you need something to distract you from the war. So
yeah, with two Spartans who had sex with each other in a hey man, you want to fuck? Yeah, I do. All right, let's fuck. And they did that, and they were like, hey, when we get back up, you want to fuck some more? Yeah, I do. All right. If you had two Spartans like that, where it's not any kind of subjugation or dominance situation, just two buff, ripped men that are like, hey, we might die tomorrow. Let's fuck. All right. And then they go out there and they fight. Could those same two men in a military situation then subjugate and dominate an enemy soldier and go, hey, why don't we fuck the shit out of him and teach him what to do? Yeah, because it's fucking war, and there's a whole different mindset there. But it seemed like you were making a point that there was some kind of problem with it being done homosexually, which I don't deny that would certainly happen in certain situations, because I don't see any difference between the homosexuality and the heterosexuality. It could happen in the heterosexual situation as well. You think there are women soldiers today who will get raped by a guy in the military? Of course there is. Could a woman soldier and a male soldier meet each other and fall in love? Of course they could. It's not a by default subjugation dominant situation.
No, but you just opened up a whole nother can of worms, which is what is love?
What is love?
Maybe
is it a series of conditions and responses?
It's biologically.
And when you start having sex, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, we have this connection. Look how many times we've been drawn to each other to fuck, even though it just started off as fucking. And then all of a sudden you think you're falling in love with that other person because of the way they make you feel. And usually that's my observation, is that love is because somebody else makes you feel good about yourself, and then there's just there's shared goals.
There's a movie called The Devil's Advocate.
Oh yeah, with Al Pacino.
Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves.
This fucking dude, man, I can't even believe.
It's one of my all-time favorite movies. I love
your level of fucking American knowledge is like,
I love
surpasses most Americans at your age. It astounds me.
I love The Devil's Advocate.
This is American knowledge, movie knowledge, because it's a great movie.
Yeah, but there's a line in The Devil's Advocate where have you ever seen it, Ad Hoc? Have you ever seen The Devil's Advocate?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Well,
I
there's a
remember really liking it, and I think I've seen it twice.
yeah, it's a
It's
great
Keanu
movie.
Reeves and Al Pacino
Yeah, and Charlie
and
Theron.
Charlize.
I need to
Yeah,
see it
and
again because I've seen it a couple of years ago, but I
it's
want to
There's a
see it.
sexy as
great
fuck.
line. There's a great line near the end of the movie where he is trying to convince
Entice.
Keanu that hey, she's your sister.
Right.
She's ovulating, Kevin, and Kevin's playing
To
along a
create
little
the
bit.
Antichrist.
To create the Antichrist, and Kevin says, "What about love?" Because she was like, "She's beautiful, she's ready for you. Yeah, she wants it." And he's like, and Kevin looks at me and goes, "What about love?" And Pacino and the girl kind of look at each other and smile, and he goes, "Biologically, no different than eating large sums of chocolate."
Eating
And
large sums of chocolate.
yeah, biologically, there's no difference between love and eating large sums of chocolate.
Speaking about Al Pacino, there's another great movie that he played in, Scent of a Woman.
Oh yeah, ooh,
Yeah. As soon as you mentioned Devil's Advocate, and I remembered about Al Pacino, this is the scene that I got in my mind where he's in court and talking about.
Disciplinary committee,
oh yeah.
and you be expelled. Mr. Sims, you are a cover-up artist and you are a liar.
But not a snitch.
Excuse me?
No, I don't think I will.
Mr. Slade,
This is such a crock of shit.
please watch your language, Mr. Slade. You are in the Baird School, not a barracks. Mr. Sims, I will give you one final opportunity to speak up.
Mr. Sims doesn't want it. He doesn't need to be labeled still worthy of being a bad man. What the hell is that? What is your motto here? Boys, inform on your classmates, save your hide. Anything short of that, we're going to burn you at the stake? Well, gentlemen, when the shit hits the fan, some guys run and some guys stay. Here's Charlie facing the fire, and there's George hiding in Big Daddy's pocket. And what are you doing? You're going to reward George and destroy Charlie.
Are you finished, Mr. Slade?
No, I'm just getting warmed up. I don't know who went to this place. William Howard Taft, William Jennings Bryan, William Tell, whoever. Their spirit is dead, if they ever had one. It's gone. You're building a rat ship here. A vessel for seagoing snitches. And if you think you're preparing these minnows for manhood, you better think again. Because I say you are killing the very spirit this institution proclaims it instills. What a sham. What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today? I mean, the only class in this act is sitting next to me, and I'm here to tell you, this boy's soul is intact. It's non-negotiable. You know how I know? Someone here, and I'm not going to say who, offered to buy it. Only Charlie
Ooh.
selling.
Sir, you're out of order.
Out of order. I show you out of order. You don't know what out of order is, Mr. Trask. I'd show you, but I'm too old. I'm too tired. I'm too fucking blind. If I were the man I was 5 years ago, I'd take a flamethrower to this place. Out of order. Who the hell do you think you're talking to? I've been around, you know. There was a time I could see, and I have seen boys like these, younger than these, their arms torn out, their legs ripped off. But there is nothing like the sight of an amputated spirit. There is no prosthetic for that. You think you're merely sending this
Great line.
splendid foot soldier back home to Argonne with his tail between his legs, but I say you are executing his soul. And why? Because he's not a bad man. Bad men. You hurt this boy, you're going to be bad bums. The lot of you. And Harry, Jimmy, Trent, wherever you are out there, fuck you too.
Stand down, Mr. Slade.
I'm not finished.
That's so good, man. That's so good.
Pacino's got some great monologues, man. And
Oh, he's fucking great.
Al Pacino in this particular scene was.
And Al Pacino is Scarface, another fucking legendary character. This guy, talk about role playing. Talk about the characters he was able to step into and speak his truth at the way that he sees things playing out. And
Dog Day Afternoon, he played a gay guy, robbing a bank.
Wow,
trying to get homosexual.
This conversation has been very engaging, and as much as I would like to continue, I cannot. I'm really tired.
Yes, sir. Yes, Krampus.
I was waiting for
7:50 a.m. Almost 7:50.
I was waiting for a break just to say, all right, dude, we've been at it for about 3.5 hours. I'm ready.
Yeah. This has been a great podcast.
Oh, we definitely covered we covered some wide-ranging topics to this evening,
and we still got one viewer out there that's hanging on.
Every time I get on with you guys, I expect we go, from one topic to another, and we go into a deep, great conversation as usual.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to get another 3+ hour.
Good night to you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Krampus, for showing up, man. Because you inspired this, bro. Because TK tapped out early. Yeah. TK, he's a sensitive brother,
Yeah,
TK missed a lot. He will need to rewatch this.
It's all right. He has his routine that he should have because he has kids and a wife. And he needs to have that. I have a flexible schedule. I'm blessed in a different way,
He's definitely turbulent adverse. He would like to avoid turbulence rather than investigate it and see where it goes. Because it goes to some dark roads, and he's like, dude, I don't really need that.
No, and that's fine. Because it's like. He believes that there's worlds within worlds within worlds. And I always said that. He's like, dude, you're fucking right. Like on Earth, there are different pockets. There's circles. We can't know everything. And the more you delve into something, the more it'll take you down this road. And if it's a dark road, so as thoughts become things. And as we do introduce these things, and TK really believes that, and he walks the walk and he talks the talk. And we see it in his art that is so beautiful and so inspiring. However, I like to lean into, the options, and BB does as well. So this is who's left in the big room tonight, as it should be. And the conversation was great. And I think that there's anybody that is still tuning in or that will tune into this into the future. You know what?
I'll find something interesting.
The human condition doesn't fucking change. I don't care if you watch this 5 years from now or 50 years from now. You're probably going to feel something from this episode.
I think
if you listen,
right. I think
that's
that to cap what Al was saying, I think that if there's one thing that you should take away from a 3-hour and 25-minute podcast, condense it down to one all-important point, it would be that you have.
I'm scarred for life, but I'm set for life, and I'm set for life, but I'm scarred for life. And I'm coming at you. I'm fucking crazy. I'm fucking psycho. I'm fucking insane.
That's the fucking chorus right there.
You nailed it, dude. You nailed it. You nailed it, and you visually transformed into fucking Joe Rogan. There,
you
dude.
did. Joe Rogan, yeah.
Yeah, you did. You visually transformed into Joe Rogan. It was amazing.
You're watching the